Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 71. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Something in Africa.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And Brett Murdoch.
Here we go, guys. Maximum effort.
Yes, maximum effort indeed. All right, before we start, I want to give a shout out to the Spawn on Me dudes and Paris Lily for dropping in on our show a couple of days ago, man. That was wild. Everybody's like, yo, let me in. I'm like, okay, everybody in. And it proved to be a pretty crazy episode. Although I predicted this would happen. Like, the real heat of the episode came at the end of it. No one's talking about that in the comments section. They're just talking about the fanboy shit. Everyone's just commenting about the fanboy shit.
And what is up with that?
But yeah, so some interesting things. I don't want to talk about it more on here, but Manny and I were pretty pissed off about some shit that happened, Oh, man, all I'm saying is I'm glad I'm not a white person, man, because you guys have to deal with some bullshit, man. God damn. But Brett, I'm white by association now, right? They're going to take my race away from me because of the color of my motherfucking skin, right? They're going to take my culture away.
The people will say that you experience the privileges of a white man because of your physical appearance, yes.
Yeah, and then I'm going to tell them, hey, you experience the privileges of a person that walked, that could walk around and shit because you're not fucking crippled. I'll throw that in their fucking face. Try to take my culture away from me. Fuck you.
Yeah. He's Tony is so privileged, and he lives in the fucking projects.
Yeah. Oh wow. I'm so privileged. Like fuck you. Fuck you. All that bullshit.
Yeah.
By the way, not fuck you to the guys who are on the show. Obviously, fuck you to these other assholes, man. Fuck that shit. That pisses me off, man. I don't like that.
Wait, did you hear me when I first said something in the beginning of the show?
No, you were like,
you son of a bitch.
It looked like you were trying to eat your mic. What were you trying to say?
Don't worry. It was that Asia song,
Oh, yeah, I heard that part, the Asia song,
Okay.
Oh, man. I was about to go off on a whole different tangent. Brett got me worked up before the show, man.
I do that. I was watching the Sanders-Hillary debate, and I had gotten all worked up, so I had to bring in some fire.
Take my culture away from me. I wasn't even born in this country. I'm not even circumcised. Fuck you. All right, let's get into it. By the way, shocking news, people. Final Stage Boss is not the first guy to ask questions this week.
What?
Is he okay?
No, I think, as Ronan told me, he just became a mid-stage boss. Oh, man. Shout out to Tony Rogers, by the way, Ronan. He helped us with the Deadpool, spoiler alert, which a ton of fucking hits. Holy shit, man. Did you see this? Over 1,000.
Yeah, I haven't actually checked it, but we were pretty high when we first came on. It was like 51 viewers we had when we first started, so that's good.
I got beef with you for not reminding me about that, Tony.
You told me you weren't available on Saturday afternoon. Remember?
I thought it was Friday night.
Yeah, but then the thing is, we saw the movie at like 11 p.m. that night, and by the time we got back, it was 2 a.m. I was like, we're not doing this shit tonight. So Brett, you wouldn't have been available anyway. But yeah, thank you to, he's also, on panel and stuff. Good dude, man. So thank you for helping us out. He brought a lot of good insight to that, spoiler alert. But yes, anyway, so he's asking us questions first this week. First one up is the Japanese have always had a penchant for expanding on a license by going through media channels different than the first, i.e. Final Fantasy's game story could continue through a manga or an audio drama. Have Western companies started to take a page from the Japanese, or has this been going on for a while now? It's been going on for a while. You've always seen it, even since the 80s. You always had like cartoon shows or comic books based on characters. So it's been going on for a while.
Well, here's the thing, though. For Japanese, for most Japanese games, the actual video game company will produce content, as opposed to most American studios they'll sell off the content, sell off the rights to do the content to some other company like an animation studio or somebody else. So in that sense, it's kind of controlled by the source, as opposed to having some other guys
I think it depends on the property. Like, look at how well controlled Halo is. Halo has novels, comic books, animations,
Well,
live action.
Like
and
nowadays,
like, control all that.
nowadays that's common. But I mean, in the old days, like, you know, okay, like if you go into Japan, like you see the game Snatcher by Kojima, right? They literally made like a bunch of radio dramas. They even released the radio drama recently on that game. Like there's radio dramas of Metal Gear Solid, you know, in Japan. These things didn't happen. You know, they happened in Japan. They didn't happen here very much. Most of the time, you'd be lucky if you get a lousy, you know, crappy, you know, cartoon show like the Sonic stuff.
Well, okay, but there's a reason for that, in my opinion, and I hate to jump in here, but is it possible that reception among Westerners is slightly different? If you have a successful franchise that starts bleeding over into straight-to-DVD movies and comic books and toys and all these things, it's generally seen as a sort of watering down of a brand, even so much so that in most Western media, if you have an expansion or a continuation of the story, it always has to be narratively unimportant, because in our society, you can't expect people, like if you're a fan of the Halo series, for instance, like they're not going to put something super important and canonical in you know, a spin-off medium, because some people might miss that and it's going to negatively impact the main brand. Whereas if for some reason in Japanese culture, it's okay to have really important stuff kind of dug away, like, oh, you wouldn't know this about this character unless you read this trade from this and this run of manga. And that seems to be okay in Japanese culture, but that I'm not sure if we're afraid of it or we just refuse to do it in Western culture. And that's something that bothers me, in the sense that, like, they're like, oh, well, we're making a spin-off. You're like, okay, so it's going to impact almost absolutely nothing. It has to be completely self-contained.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's how it mostly is in Western culture. But you're right. In Japanese one, you know, you kind of do need to know the other parts. But with that said, Halo 5 was kind of affected by that. You need to read all the other Halo novels or whatever, or a chunk of them, to actually understand the story of Halo 5, I've been told, which is kind of, you know, I guess Japanesey in a way. You know.
I'd say it's progressive in a way.
But at the same time, you know, isn't that kind of fucked up?
Yeah, but and it's just a weird knee-jerk reaction. Like, let me ask you, Tony, if you have a brand or a like Avengers, right? Like, everybody loves Avengers right now, right? Yeah. If you heard that they were releasing a series of Avenger movies straight to DVD alongside a series of young adult novels, what would be your first gut reaction?
I'd be like, what the fuck is this shit?
You'd probably immediately lose a little faith in the brand, in the sense that you'd be like, uh-oh, is Avengers doing okay?
Yeah. I don't know about that, but that would be my first reaction. What the fuck is this shit? I'm not trying to read some teen book. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here.
I guess we aren't used to that, because I remember, I use this as an example, but it's relevant because of Old Anime this month. When my first experience with Berserk was the Dreamcast game. Yes. And I had no idea what Berserk was, and they just threw you in that story, right? And it was after the series. Yeah. I had no clue who anyone was. Yeah. I don't know why his guts only have one eye. Why can't this girl talk? What the fuck is happening? I don't know. Who is this guy Griffin he's talking about? What is going on? Like, you don't know.
And then they released the anime that never fucking connects to it. So you have, like, two independent storylines. You're like, I know one happens before the other one, but, like, last I checked, Guts was in an weird interdimensional while Griffin was being turned into some god king, raping the fuck out of Katya, and all of his men were dead. Oh yeah, and the landscape had turned into hellish jaws, clamping him by the very jaw, or clamping him by the arm, most likely severing a life-sustaining artery or something like that. And I know later on he ends up with a mechanical arm. So somehow, just somehow, he gets out of this fucking thing by tearing his own arm off, defeating an army of demons, and destroying a demigod, somehow rescuing this chick, and her mind is shattered, and then makes friends with a giant Neferi? Like, I don't know.
Man.
Also, I want to point out Akira. Akira's like the third and fourth book or something like that of a 5-part, like, really long series. Like, oh no, it's actually, I want to say it's
no, like, no. If you're talking about the movie is based on like the first 2 books.
And that's it. And then it, like, you think the movie ends, and then you're like, oh no, Akira's actually a character. And you're like, wait a minute, I thought Akira was like this weird kind of godlike being. They're like, oh no, it's a little kid. He comes back. Lots of stuff happens.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, Akira is kind of like an iceberg. You know, it's like, oh shit, is big. Yo, my man, look down there. There's more. It's crazy. That's how I felt. I'm like, damn, there's a lot of shit, and the other shit was better than the movie. You know. All right. Let's move on. Next question here. How close are Keiji Inafune and Comcept to joining Tim Schafer and Double Fine in the "Don't Trust Them Enough to Crowdfund" category? How close? They're already there, man. They're already there.
I would say like only the hardcore of hardcore. They're on the thinnest of ice with anyone who would hold hope for them doing anything. And I swear to God, if Mighty Number 9 comes out after No Man's Sky, the trust is broken. That's it. Done.
It's already broken, man.
For me, it's already broken. It's past the point of no return,
man.
If
I could give my money back, I would.
Okay, let me ask you this though. Like, if I would have told you a year ago that you would be cursing this man's name, I don't think you guys would have believed me. And like, we've seen some of the biggest, best game creators, legendary game creators, just fall flat on their face with this. Like, what does that say to the perception that we always held that these people kind of knew what they were doing?
Well, they know their craft, right? But I think it says like, I guess they didn't work well unless some NBA having motherfucker was yelling at them all the time to get the game out. You know, it's like once you take that guy out of the equation, then all chaos happens.
Yeah, does that mean you need those corporate shills to get these games out in time? You need that dude that doesn't really know about games, but he knows about getting shit out on time? Does that mean they're necessary?
You have to have somebody who's going to be the bad guy in any of those situations, especially when you're dealing with artists.
So do you think this is one of those cases? It's like it's showing the world, hey, you kind of need these guys.
Well, no, it's saying to the effect that I think people are getting more of an insight into how games are made now. You remember, like I said, games aren't like movie scripts. You can't just everything isn't written down for a game. A lot of times it's very nebulous. Like you know, the game creator could just wake up one day and like, hey, I got this great idea. It's like, wait, you just fucked over the second chapter of this game. No, we got to do this now. So you know, it's not. There's no formula to it, and it's always very nebulous and floaty until they finally latch onto something that actually has some substance. And I feel like especially with Mighty Number 9. They're like, okay, we're gonna do this. Okay, so what is doing Mega Man-ish game like? Okay, now we're gonna cut this. Oh, we're gonna add this. Same thing with Schafer. It's like, okay, we know how to make these sorts of games, but at the same time we have to make a whole new engine for this game. We have to do all these other things. I want to put this in there and then take this out.
Yeah, I think at a point you need some sort of control. You need somebody to tell you to cut it off and set a schedule. With Tim Schafer and any artist, they're going to be like, well, we need more time because I have better ideas and we can make this better. And then the deadline keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. A suit would come in and just tell you, no, we're hitting this date, and whatever it is, leave it on the cutting room floor and let's go. Like, there's none of that now. These guys have complete artistic freedom, and unfortunately that means things are just pushed back, or if they make a decision to use like Keiji Inafune has been blaming, I guess, Unreal 3 on some of the network problems he's having. So it's like, well, who made that decision to use an unsupported game, and now you have no support, unsupported engine. Epic's not supporting it anymore, so you don't have anybody to fix the netcode, and now you're fixing it. So that's, you know, those kind of decisions. Not to say like you need the corporate shell and they're completely blameless. Like I look at Pandemic Studios and I look at games like the Saboteur and the Dark Knight game that could have been that didn't happen because suits ruin shit all the time. So I'm not saying you need that stuff, but you need somebody to say, hey, this is a great idea, but we got to cut it off at some point.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not the hammer, it's the craftsman.
Right.
All right. Moving on here. Anyone have opinions or recommendations on pen tablets for graphic work? I've been working off a Wacom Bamboo first tablet I had, and I'm looking to replace it. Artists,
okay. Now, you know, I'm going to say this. If you have the money, you can invest in a Cintiq, or you can invest, or if you're not running that heavy, you could just choose the more high-end Wacom tablet, the Pro tablet, which is really good. If you're really used to using it, you can buy one that's a little bit larger. That's actually a lot larger if you want that sort of space. That's the two that I suggest. Some people suggest the Cintiq Companion, which I think it's a bunch of bloatware. That thing, it's cool as it is. It's cool as it is. you can buy a Windows tablet for much cheaper, and as long as you have your drivers and you have your programs in it, you can get pretty much the same experience.
Yeah, Wacom sold the drivers to I think it's Surface, Microsoft, but they didn't sell them their drivers. They sold them some drivers. So I personally have to say, like, I have never known a company to give away or sell its proprietary best while it's still selling it. So from what I understand, that the drivers that the Windows tablets have are it's not the same experience as a true Wacom product. And I have to say, from personal experience, stay the fuck away from N-Trig digitizers. It's not the same.
That's the kind of like knockoff brand. I mean, here's the thing. I've used for years. I've used a tablet PC from Motion Computing, really good brand. And you can kind of modify it. But it can be a little expensive. But it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. The thing is that if you're using an older Wacom tablet and you decide to get a Surface, get a Windows Surface or whatever, it's not going to be that much different. Especially if you're using an older Wacom, they're pretty close. So I would suggest if you're in it, if you don't have a lot of money, and you want a new tablet, you can get the more high-end Wacom tablet. If you really want to buy the high-end shit, you can go for a Cintiq, which is what me, Chris, and Brett have. Yeah, I mean that's the two things that I use. I upgraded I upgraded from my tablet, which I bought a few years ago. It's a really great tablet. My girlfriend's using it right now, and then I'm on a Cintiq now. But the thing is that here's the great thing. You can buy, if you decide to go with a Cintiq, you can find like an older brand of Cintiq for close to $500 on eBay, and you'll get a really great experience. It may be it's not, of course, it's not the most high-end version, but it's good. It's as good as the most high-end tablet, from probably pretty recently. So that's not bad.
I also want to throw in there, my boss got the Cintiq Companion, and it's a pretty neat little device if you are planning not to have if you're not planning to have a computer that can actually run Photoshop decently. If you're running off of a laptop or something like that, it can get the job done, and actually does so pretty well. But I would probably recommend, if you're already spending that money, that you invest in a decent computer that has a fair amount of processing power.
Yeah, that is the biggest problem with the Companion. It is a little bit underpowered for what it costs.
Oh, for what it costs, it's definitely not a cheap thing.
That's why I suggested if you're gonna go with like a portable tablet, you go with one of the Surfaces or even the Samsung products, because they have really great computers inside of them, and they have pretty decent digitizers on them.
I would agree with that. I think the best thing to know at this point would be to how often do you use it? What do you use it for? If you're trying to create professional caliber work on a regular basis, then I'd probably recommend investing in your tools. If you're somebody who's an amateur looking to kind of break in, I might also recommend, if you can't afford it, investing in some more tools. But if you're more of a hobbyist, then absolutely a Windows tablet will do everything that you need.
I will also say this. I do not agree with half the things you just said, because for one reason. For years, I was working professionally, and I was using a really low-end. I was using a low-end version of Photoshop 5.5, which is probably the second. This is the first Photoshop to even have layers. I was using an older tablet, but the thing is that it's not really about. Yes, eventually, if you get the money, you want to invest in your tools, but don't think for 1 second that you can't make good work with a lower-end device.
Oh, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. The only reason I said that was you can make excellent art with a lower grade device. You're just going to have to put a little bit more effort into it. It's true of almost any tool. You can sand just as well with a cheaper sander as you can with a super expensive sander. You just may have to put a little bit more work into it, which is why I put the qualifier on there. Depending on how much you do it. If you're constantly working on deadlines and you're making money off of your art, that would be, at least in my opinion, when you would invest back in your in your craft. But like I said, if you're a hobbyist or you have time, or it's and I'm sure Manny knows this, it's frustrating working on subpar technology when you're working under a deadline.
I've always made the deal, made do with what I had.
Drives me crazy.
Even like I've had jobs where I've had like I was working on shit computers. Like in the animation industry back in 2000, all that tech was like friggin' 10 years old. Like we're the old, like I had a station that had the original Photoshop on there. Didn't do any sort of fucking layers on it. It was like, all right, just make do what you got because they don't have the budget to get me a good computer in here. So that's kind of that's the way my career has always been. It's just kind of making do with what you got until you can get the amount of money that you can to get something a little bit better, or just keep going.
Yeah, I don't want to make it sound like for 1 second that I'm saying that a tool should ever hold you back. My dad always taught me that it's not the tool, it's the person using it. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You definitely, if you are, and I definitely want to get this out there because I know that there are lots of artists out there who get frustrated. They're like, oh, stupid fucking pencils. Well, it's not the pencil's fault. It's you. You need to learn to work with your tools. But so yeah, I agree with what Manny says. The only difference I think saying was that if you want to if you're being very serious about it, don't be afraid to invest in your tools. If this is something that you want to make money off of, it's something you want to take seriously.
Yeah, definitely. If you have the money for it, and because if you do buy a high-end computer, or you do buy a better Cintiq or tablet, it'll definitely last you until you need to do it again.
All right, and the last question here, we kind of touched on this during the main show last week. It's about the Twitter bullshit council. You guys all remember all that shit, right? So
you made the Council of Nine.
They will watch you. They would read your thoughts, and if you're thinking different thoughts than them, you will be destroyed.
Does that mean that they have a sovereign to watch over them?
Yeah,
a giant red floating head. I am sovereign.
Yeah, and it's Anita Sarkeesian.
No, she'd be Dr. Girlfriend.
Yeah, guys.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, these guys are talking smack about me. Put them in jail. So yeah, like I said on the show, see, here's the thing I want to touch on. And we were talking with Roman Ronan about this. People don't seem to understand the concept of a slippery slope, right? Like on the face of it, it sounds nice, right? Oh yeah, everyone's going to be able to say what they want. They're going to be protected against attacks, quote unquote attacks. That sounds beautiful. When you really think about it, it's like, whoa, what's considered an attack? Who are they going to protect, right? It goes down all these layers and shit that people aren't thinking about. It's like once you get this ball rolling, you may not be able to stop it, and then by the end, everything's going to get fucking censored. And I know that may sound like an extremist take, but to me, freedom is the most important thing. It's like that should come first. Worry about that other shit later. So it's and then you see the people on the council, and before anybody starts, no, I'm not just like against this because of Anita, even though I don't like her at all. Take her out of the equation, my thoughts would still be the same. I don't want some mysterious council out there trying to tell me what the fuck I say, especially considering that I don't really have opinions that most of the other people share. So people like me and probably most of the guys in this show are going to be the first ones like told you can't say that, you can't be on Twitter anymore. You don't know where this could go, people. It's a very scary thing. So I am totally against it.
To me, I would like some guarantee that it'll be non-impartial. Sort of stuff. Like in other words, okay, somebody says something that somebody doesn't, that people don't like, right?
Yeah.
If people just come out of the woodwork and start attacking that person, they should still protect that person, even if they have even if the council doesn't agree with what that person has to say.
The council does not agree with what you said. You would be destroyed.
Well, I find it ironic. The first thing they're talking about here is like, the Safety Council. A lot of these are groups that are focused on protecting minors. Now, I go back to my original argument that you should just kick fucking little kids off the internet, but also that most of the hate and the weird trolling and shit probably comes from kids in the first place. So I find that ironic.
That's right.
And then next, it's like, so I will be. If I say stuff that, this is not kid friendly, so now Twitter is going to be like kid friendly. So if I decide to curse or somebody or people are just having a Twitter battle or whatever, and they're yelling at each other, that it's like it's going to set off a trigger warning, and then eventually I'll talk about grapes, and that'll be somebody else's trigger warning. And there's a slippery slope. Then right now we can't talk about grapes because somebody's feelings got hurt, and they're 11. So there you go, you're off the internet.
Yeah,
can't talk about this
shit. Is the shit. It may sound crazy, but this is the shit we got to worry about, man. The slippery slope. People don't think about that shit. Just like I said on the show, it's like you're gonna have to a point. Oh, did you just post a picture of milk? Milk? Really? You know how much that triggers me?
Yeah, it's like no. First of all, if you get triggered by milk, get off the internet. Yeah. Stay away from cows. Like that should be your journey. That's nobody else's problem but your own.
Yeah, I'm
Everybody else
intolerant, sir. How dare you throw milk in my face? Bitch, it's a picture.
Yeah, I'm not saying Twitter shouldn't like engage something so if people feel harassed, they could go to somebody, but at the same time, don't not now start policing what everyone has to say. It's a very double-edged sword, walking a fine line to just abolishing anybody's ability to freely speak on Twitter versus people getting abused on Twitter, right? And your Safety Council choices are questionable. There's a lot of people on there. It seems to be heavily child-focused. That's interesting, and yeah. I think that shouldn't be the problem. The problem is you should put an age gate on it. You should just say 16 and under. Your opinions don't really matter. We'll make a kiddie table for you. You go talk on there, and the adults can talk over here. You get the kids table. That'd be my solution.
But the thing is, how do you enforce that? The age gauge things are so stupid. You can just put whatever age you want on those things. You know what I usually do for fun? I put my age as younger. Just to feel better.
I do that too.
Yeah, I'm 21 years old. Hell yeah, man.
It's true, but it's like everybody should. It's like I think this might be an overreaction on the part of Twitter. I think if Twitter just said everybody take it down a notch, and if you say things to women or men or children like I'm going to come to your house and kill you and rape your mom, that's assault. And they report it to the authorities, and they track that person, and then they get arrested. You know why? Because that's still illegal to say, even if it's on the internet, so it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. How about this? How about instead of tweeting about people attacking you, report it to the police?
Yeah.
How about
it's
you
assault.
Try that first?
That's it. If they're like, okay, I lost you in a game, so I'm going to harass you on Twitter, and then I'm going to make rape threats to you, that's assault.
But that's not what this is about. I mean, this is clearly an agenda thing. Like, and I don't mean to. Fuck it. I'm putting on my tinfoil hat for a second. This is very clearly about people wanting to curate a discussion because, like Tony brought up, like nobody's really said who gets to make these decisions, who says what's right, who says what's wrong, and the problem is, just about everybody in America / the world has said something at some point that somebody else finds offensive. So they're guilty of offensive speech. The problem is we're all supposed to tolerate other people's offensive speech, right? Because we may be divided on certain issues, we're united on other issues. And so you get this very complicated mix of grab bags. And by curating this discussion, all you're doing is censoring people so that you can point to the discussion itself and say, like, see, the community agrees with us. It brings back the famous quote, and I'm going to read the whole fucking thing. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was nobody left to speak for me. It's the same concept, and this is a famous quote for a very good reason. You cannot simply stand up for people that you agree with. You have to stand up for principles that you agree with, which is the very founding problem and the exact polar opposite of this no bad targets or no bad tactics, only bad targets idea. It is eschewing the idea of principles and of personal responsibility and looking simply at the end result. In short, the ends justify the means. And so now you have a group of people who have clearly eschewed ethics narrating the discussion. And this is a problem. And they are doing this in an effort to please as many people as possible, to homogenize the pool. But you can only please some of the people some of the time. You can't please all the people all the time. If we could please all the people all the time by homogenizing things, we wouldn't have things like R-rated movies. People like having opinions and options, and all you're doing by trying to impress your opinions and options on somebody else is silencing them and their worldview. And that's exactly what is going on Twitter right now. And the problem is, like I said, nobody's regulating who's saying what, or what's bad adequate behavior. Like, we can all fucking agree on the fact that saying, yeah, I'm going to come to your house and chop your head off, that's bad behavior, right? That's not something that you have to get a council together and figure out. That's not what we're talking about, because we have already agreed as a society that's bad behavior. Don't do that. The things we are arguing with is when somebody can frame somebody else as being malicious and swallowing that bit and parcel with no internal research on their own. So I think at the end of the day, the question, or the answer to this, is tolerance of opinions that you don't necessarily agree with, because the person holding that opinion may know something that you don't, and through general and intelligent discourse we can all reach a middle ground that benefits all. But that is the polar opposite of what Twitter is doing with this. They are cutting down on free speech, and they are shaping a narrative. And whether or not they want to think that they're doing it for the betterment of mankind is irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem right here, though. They do think that they know what's best for everybody, right?
Yeah. Look at a long storied history of people who thought they had moral, righteous authority on their side, from the fucking Crusaders to the fucking Nazis. Like, that is not a road. Just because you feel like you're bettering mankind does not mean you are, in fact, a good person.
Exactly.
And that's how fascism starts.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm so glad you said the ends justify the means, because that's exactly what this is. Like, look at the people they champion, right? Like, it's been proven that Sarkeesian is a fraud, right? It's been proven without a shadow of a doubt. Yet they're like, you know what? That may be true, but she's speaking the right thing, so we're gonna keep supporting her. It's like, it doesn't matter what she is. She's speaking the thing we want we want out there. It's like she's the perfect person to use for this agenda. So we're gonna keep championing her, even though all this shit's been said about her. And you see that a lot too. It's like, this person has a shady past, but they're good for the cause. So keep championing them. I hate that type of shit. You see it all the time.
We need to distill it down equally as much. Like, that is a person who lacks integrity, right? And like, do we want those kinds of people making decisions for us?
No, we don't. But again, the problem is they don't care if the person has integrity. They only care that they're a good person to push their agenda. They don't care about that, and that's a big fucking problem.
Well, let's also be real that Twitter doesn't have everybody's best interest at heart. At the end of the day, they're a company and they want to make money. And they realize their user growth has been stagnant, and this is a very desperate attempt to get more user base on their platform. But just as we argued before when we were talking about Deadpool, and that a rated R comic book movie is actually generating better revenue than a PG-13 one, and that R-rated movies would sell, the same thing is going to happen here. You're going to restrict the speech on Twitter, and people are going to leave. This is going to backfire. Remember, Twitter is a company. They don't have your best interests at heart. They really don't care about you. They care about money. And that's what this is for. This is for them to create this sense of safety so that they start building their user base. But I think this is going to backfire.
Oh, yeah, totally. All right, let's move on here. Here we go. Final stage boss coming in. Here's a fun one. What game was your first multiplayer experience? Mine was GoldenEye, 4-player split screen on a 19-inch tube TV. It was a struggle to get 4 high school kids together to play it, but it was great fun. Brian's answer is Tekken 2. My first, okay, here's the thing. He said getting people in the couch, right? So he doesn't mean online multiplayer.
Yep.
He means multiplayer. And that's a little bit of a tricky question, because can't you consider your cousins coming over to play Super Mario kind of a multiplayer experience?
Contra. That's a 2-player game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't remember exactly, but it was either Mario or Contra. Probably Contra because Mario you had to take turns, and nobody had two guns for the fucking duck hunt, we were poor people. So yeah, it was probably Contra,
These are okay. It's hard to have somebody ask this question like, I can tell how old you are, Final Stage Boss, by your answer. So I will tell you.
Yes.
Back in my day, because we're old as dirt, we used to go out into the fields and pick two switches, fashion one of them into a hoop, and all the neighborhood boys would gather around, hit the hoop with the switch, and see how long we could keep it rolling. No, that's exaggeration, but it's not exaggeration to say I played kick the can. So I'm going to go with Contra just because it was pretty. There weren't many options back in those days. There was like, you want to play a multiplayer game? Sure. Okay. Contra.
Yeah. Back in those days, it wasn't even called multiplayer. It was called two-player.
Yeah.
Two-player, exactly.
I could top that. Boxing on the Atari 2600.
Okay.
That was my first multiplayer experience. Because that allowed two simultaneous players, one controlling the white boxer and one controlling the black boxer.
Uh-oh. Racism.
Yeah, it was the 80s. It's fine, though.
It's fine.
Here's the thing, though. Let's just have fun with this, too, because we answered it way too quickly. First multiplayer game, like online multiplayer. Let's go with that.
Choo-Choo Rocket.
Which one, Brett?
Rocket.
Choo-Choo Rocket, literally the first game to have online multiplayer.
I don't know about that. We got to verify that, but okay.
Like I remember arguing with my friends. They're like, so you're playing a game with strangers? Yeah. Over the phone? Yeah. Why? My friends could not, for the life of me, not understand why you would, why would internet gaming be a thing?
That's
awesome. And then young Brett pulls out a initial version of his soapbox and says, "Well, let me tell you about this."
Imagine a world where we can get done with our homework and then play Tekken together. You don't even have to come over because your mom said you're grounded, but we can still play Tekken. Think about it.
Yes.
You don't even have to come over to play Power Stone. Oh my God.
Yeah, you're trying to tell me, like, what? What do you mean? How can I play Power Stone from my house? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. You're talking crazy talk right now.
Well, they're like, why would I not want to come over? I'm like, well, if you can't. And they're like, well, then why don't we just play games when I can? Like, you're missing the point here.
All right. My first online game was Metal Gear Solid Online, the second iteration of it for Metal Gear Solid 4. And here's my experience. This was so funny. So I'm playing this game, first time I'm ever playing against strangers, right? And for the first 15 minutes, I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. We're just running around killing each other. This is crazy. 15 minutes later, I'm like, this is boring. We're just running around killing each other.
I'm still running around killing you guys.
It was almost like that game State of Emergency. If you guys ever played that, it's like the first 5 minutes are awesome. Like, oh my God, this is just craziness, man. We're running around murdering around. And then like 5 minutes after that, it's like, boring.
Still murdering people.
So yeah, that was my first online experience, and then these fucking cheaters and shit. That for online experience, like let me see, what's the word? Like it's like kind of coded every other online experience I've ever had. It's like this is bad. Like it like yeah. So I mean, and there was some fun in it, but like after like 2 weeks, then it was not fun anymore. These dudes were just murdering you. And like cheap too, You're
missing out. I actually have to change my answer, Tony.
Uh-oh.
I was online multiplayer gaming in 1995.
95? How'd you pull that one off?
Command and Conquer, motherfucker.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Nice, dude. Yeah, old school online game right there, man.
Yep, and then I graduated to Ultima Online, the precursor to every MMO ever.
Yes, people don't forget it. People don't remember that. It's true. Man.
I was there when they split the world into 2 shards, man. I saw that shit.
Oh, man. Manny, what was your first one?
First online?
Yeah, online.
That was a good game.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe Phantasy Star Online?
On the Dreamcast.
On the Dreamcast. I didn't really care for it, so.
You still don't care for it.
Never really cared for it. I'm like, wait, I can play with other people from other places that I can't talk to? Why? and I'm still doing that. Why?
Why? But Chris, what about you, man? Oh, go ahead, Manny.
But then again, I'm playing Bloodborne, so sure.
Yes. All right, Chris, what about you, man?
For me, it was Doom. Doom had dial-up multiplayer, and you could use. I forgot what the predecessor to GameSpy was, but you could use it to connect to people online and play Doom.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So that was my first online, I think.
All right. Next question. A variation of one we've gotten before. How much longer do you see yourself being a gamer? Brian goes, until I stop enjoying games. Not that I'm already reaching the end of my tether with AAA games. I know Brian's getting kind of annoyed with AAA games. I want to take this question in a different direction. What would it take for you to actually stop gaming? I have my answer. If every game becomes like, these hipster games, right? Like these walking simulators, or every game becomes a MOBA or shit like that. Basically, if they take away all the types of games I like, single-player games, I may be done with gaming. That's like the main thing. Like if gaming becomes this totally weird thing that I don't understand anymore, then I'm gone. That's what it takes. Because in my heart of heart, I don't want to stop gaming. But if it turns into this weird shit that I can't support anymore, then I'm done. That's what it would take for me to just leave it behind. Hopefully I won't, but it could happen because I see where gaming is going, and even though some of this shit I don't like is just in the background, it could take over. So I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think if everything just caters to esports, and then all we have is either something like League of Legends or something like Team Fortress, then I would be done. I would totally be like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
And if every game becomes super PC, you know what I'm saying? Like every woman is covered up, every man is covered up. If every game is like non-offensive, or if every game is catered to SJWs and shit, then I'm like, no, not for me, man. Give me some real fucking entertainment, not this fucking agenda-driven bullshit.
Okay.
No, that just may be the fault of AAA, because like they're buying into the esports now. But indie games, like I was playing Broforce the other day, I was enjoying the hell out of it, So maybe maybe the indie community will keep feeding our need for those the games that we know we enjoy,
Yeah, exactly. Manny, were you gonna say?
I'm going to say this. The thing is that, you said about catering to these people, to SJWs and stuff like that. But the thing is, I feel it should never really cater. It should just do it.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you. Yeah.
In other words, just to kind of clear that up, because it may also sound like you're bashing games that do these sorts of things.
No, I'm not bashing it. I'm saying if every game does that, right? Mm-hmm. Every game is now agenda driven. Every game is now homogenized. Every game is now League of Legends. Then I'm like, okay, man.
I don't think they're going to be able to homogenize games that way, though, because games inherently have choice in them. So it's really hard to set like as strong a narrative in a game as you do in, like, I don't know, Jessica Jones.
Yeah, but they could still, do some stuff in there, That's the thing. Yeah.
They will, but gamers appreciate choice, and gamers like choice. So. While I see it happen, I don't see that much infringement coming into AAA games. I see little bits of like, maybe we need to dress this character up a little bit more. But for just as many of those, I see other games being like, fuck it, titties everywhere, because I said so. Like it's the one thing about the free market of gaming is that money will speak, and money has not been saying the same things that the cultural narrative has been saying. So
yeah, thankfully, because it's not for lack of trying, Brett. They have been trying,
Oh, no, they have been trying, but here's the thing. Like, you can tell me all day long that I should do something some way, and then somebody's going to give me money to do something another way, and unless I feel a moral obligation one way or the other, I'm probably going to take the money, especially if it's from the people who've been supporting me. Like, if I just if I make tiny Chewbacca figures, right, and I build them and I sell them, I sculpt them out of clay and all that, and everybody loves the Chewbacca figures, and then some people come in and say like, well, Chewbacca's got a little bit of a dick bulge and that bothers me, so I'm not going to buy your Chewbacca figures. Like, okay, I may try to make a couple Chewbacca figures where like you like give him a convex groin so that people are happy, and those sit in inventory for 5 months, and I'm like, fuck that, I'm not doing that anymore. Give him a huge fucking package because that's what people want. Like that's how the free market worked. Like we said it once, and I'll say it on the show. I'll say it again. That's why Deadpool was so fucking successful. Was people are so sick of like homogenized. Like everybody got so scared when Watchmen came out that you couldn't make it a superhero movie adult. And as much as I love the Marvel movies, like even the gritty Batman movies, they fucking pull their punches.
Yeah,
and everybody
and Brett, hold it back, because we're going to talk about Deadpool later, and I want you to save that fire for that.
All right.
Yeah, save it. I want you to unleash it, but not right now. Okay, so what would it take for you to stop gaming?
My thumbs to fall off.
Oh, yes. So even if they make some horrible bullshit games, like if every game became a Telltale's game, you'd still be playing? Or you just go back to the old school shit?
Yeah. There's a huge library of games that I could go back and play a second time. And I don't think that's going to happen, because as soon as the entire market becomes Telltale games, somebody will come out and be like, you know what I'm going to do? Not a Telltale game. And then it'll sell like a motherfucker, and then everybody will rush trying to copy their success.
Yeah. Hey, man, remember Assassin's Creed? I'm bringing that shit back. Oh, yeah. Damn, let's go.
And then I'll be like, wait, just don't copy the first Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, don't do that.
Do you guys remember the Assassin's Creed, like when people got into backlash, were like, wait, so it's just a game where you sneak around and murder people? That's completely different than a game where you fight people.
Yeah.
You can't make a game out of just hiding and killing people. Like, that's a murder simulator. And look at all the stealth games we have now, which are murder simulators.
Yeah, oh man. All right. The last question here.
Yo, man, you didn't ask me. What's up with this?
Yeah, didn't you say that already? Didn't you give an answer?
Say anything? I didn't give an answer, yo.
Okay, what's your answer?
If I just don't have the ability to play, that's probably the moment when I stop playing. If I get Alzheimer's or something like that.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, it's really just horrible.
Why?
I think you and Brett had the same answer. Just becoming so disabled he can't play. My thumbs fall off.
I kind of do it, Calvin. I can't reach the controls.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, Brett, your thumbs will fall off, but you can probably it'll be the future, and you'll probably figure out some sort of
VR, man. Just put the helmet on, man.
This is true. We're like, haha, arthritis. I've bested you yet again.
Exactly, but then if you lose your mental capacity, you play a game and you'll be like, what am I doing? Aren't I supposed to be somewhere?
They'll develop the game that boosts your mental capacity with the cloud.
Oh, good.
Or even then, my game purchasing choices will just go down, because I'll buy like Fallout 12 once, and I'll be like, this is amazing! They just released Fallout 12! Next week, this is amazing! They just released Fallout 12! They're like, they're on Fallout 4.
But the thing is, you bring up a good point though. If VR takes off, you may not even. You mean you need to use your hands? You may not even need your hands anymore. No,
and then you'll be one of those crotchety motherfuckers who'll be like, "Fuck this shit."
Yeah, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, Elijah Wood, with your little ass. I want to play the arcade game. Get out of here.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. Will Microsoft use the greatest games lineup every year? Brian goes, well, if they believe so, then they will. I guess. It would be funny, though, because, like, the greatest games lineup, really, Microsoft, really, that show was not the greatest games lineup, man. I'm sorry. It was a good lineup, but it wasn't the greatest, so will they use it again? Who knows? I hope they do, just so I could get some laughs out of it.
They're going to continue using it for the meanwhile. What most people don't know is that Microsoft has a dedicated team of scientists and engineers working around the clock to construct a catchphrase that is somehow more pretentious than this one.
Yes. Oh, man. All right, what do you guys say? Will they use it next year?
Listen.
Yeah, sure. And then there'll just be memes that'll just add "and coming to PC" after it.
Yes. Oh, man. Man, you going to say?
Sure, why not? You know, as long as it continues to work for them, which most of the time slogans don't fucking work for book companies. You know.
Doesn't it seem weird though? It's like, wait, if last year was the greatest games lineup, how the hell is this year the greatest games lineup? Don't they cancel each other out?
Well, I mean, maybe that's why they will say this is not, you know, the greatest game lineup. They'll be like, it's the even greatest. The greatest game lineup.
Not the greatest. The greatest.
It's the greatest.
Oh man, but yeah, because you know people are gonna call them out on that. They're gonna go, wait a minute, is this year your best games lineup, or was it last year when it actually was your best games lineup? What is it, Microsoft? Are you telling me that for all perpetuity you'll never have a greater games lineup than the one you had in 2015?
Well, yeah, they think that it means the greatest Xbox lineup yet, but what they're actually saying is the greatest Xbox lineup of all time forever. We should look back in history and say this was the golden age of Xbox gaming.
Yeah, they really paint themselves in a corner with that slogan, man. You know.
Well, I mean,
but then again, a pretty good lineup isn't very catching, you know.
a passable lineup.
Yeah, it's pretty. Xbox One, it's pretty good.
Xbox One, we got some games, fam.
Yeah, well, play it on our console. Why not? There'll be some Brooklyn guys that, hey, play on our console. Why not? Oh man! All right.
That sounds like
Microsoft, that sounds. What, are you too good for it?
That's now you're just doing '90s slogans right there.
Yeah. Why not? Oh man! All right. Next up. Uchiha Madara 117, and no, he's not a new guy. It's fucking Apex. He's changing his name again.
Oh
man! All right.
Okay, so here's a question, Apex. Why do you keep changing your name?
I don't know. He was called Kylo Ren last week, and now he's I don't know what he's gonna be next week. He's always changing his shit. All right. I'm guessing he must be an Xbox fan because they allow you to change your name on there. All right. His first question. Man, by the way, I'm gonna say this, just right now, we can't fully answer this shit because this is like insider shit. Anyway, regarding the Koalition website, what do you feel the website could do this year versus previous years to make it better, or do you feel something regarding the site could use improvements? Brian goes, speaking for myself only, more consistent content and why gaming sucks part 3. That's right, Brian. Where the fuck is that? You're late. Write that shit. Again, we got some shit in the background percolating that we're working on that I can't talk about, Yo,
man, you keeping secrets?
Yeah, hey, man, I can't tell the fans that shit. Got to be surprises. But I will say I believe the site is in way better standing than it was last year. And last year was pretty good. This year's already coming off better. We're putting our tentacles in more places and stuff. We're getting invited to more events.
That does not sound pleasant. Putting your tentacles in places.
Yeah, man. Japanese like that.
Hydra.
Yeah.
You motherfuckers don't know that phrase, man. Tentacles everywhere, a reach, man.
We're sticking the Koalition is sticking tentacles in places you will never know.
Yeah. We're expanding like the Nazi Empire, man.
That's even worse.
You started it, man.
Collaborate, but we've got big plans this year involving a billy goat, massive amounts of MDMA, and a tour bus. So stay tuned, folks.
Yeah, so we can't talk, but the site again behind the scenes is doing very well. Our numbers are better. We're getting invited to more events. We're getting more preview copies. Shit is looking good, man. So I just say we gotta just keep on that hustle. That's all it's about. That's all I will say about that. As for personal things, I do have obviously. If you work on this site, you can have some little grievances. I'm not gonna talk about that shit publicly. So yeah, nothing heavy, by the way, nothing heavy. But I'm not gonna. Just to seem professional, I won't do that shit live.
My problem with the Koalition is that there's not enough British people on the site.
Yeah, not enough, right? All right, does anybody want to take a crack at this, or should we move on? Because again, I don't want to stay on this too long.
I mean, I can't really say much about it. I mean, I think you guys are doing officially, I'm not a member of the Koalition, so as an outsider, I think the site's doing very well, and they're trying to hit. You guys are trying to hit all kinds of really good places. So Good on you.
Yeah.
I'm going to say white people.
More white people. He's more white people. The site has white people. It's just they don't post enough. We got Gary.
I didn't say it doesn't have enough white people. I just said white people, and I was going to leave it vague at that.
Okay, fair enough.
What can the Koalition do better? White people.
Yeah, white people. There you go. What does that mean, Brett? White people.
White people.
Oh man. All right. And the last question here: do you have a game, movie, or comic book franchise series which you thought could do no wrong, and then they released a sequel that shattered the world around you, leaving a negative taste? Brian goes SOCOM Confrontation and SOCOM 4. So what do you say, guys? I'm for some reason I'm having a hard time answering this, even though I know for a fact I can answer this.
I have a very complicated answer.
Dark Knight 2.
Ooh.
We mean Rises?
No. Dark Knight 2.
Ooh. I'm like Colossus. I'm about to throw up.
Yeah, the sequel to the Dark Knight that Frank Miller did.
Oh, Dark Knight Strikes Back. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
DC 2. Oh. Actually, I got one. RoboCop 3. Oh.
Oh yeah, terrible movie.
Terrible movie.
Terrible.
Now, mind you, we are not taking a theme just because they are both,
By Frank Miller.
Yeah, both by Frank Miller.
Oh,
That is just a coincidence.
Sin City 2. You see, Manny, look what you did.
Sin City 2, yeah, the Ain't to Kill For. You know what? It really, that film should have come out like 5 years ago before.
I got one. I'm gonna throw it in right there, right now, man. Second and third Matrix movies.
Oh yeah. There's a bunch. I mean, Rocky 5.
Rocky 5, yeah.
I don't know, Superman 4.
Superman
3 and 4. Terrible movies.
Come on now.
The X-Men movies hit kind of a trough when they hit the third movie. That went bottom, and then Origins Wolverine is down there too at the bottom, and then it comes back up. Then you get Days of Future Past, which is very good, right? So they bottomed out. They were like good shit, and then they went back up. They like came out of the toilet.
Spider-Man 3.
Oh yeah.
Blade 3.
Oh.
This is a bunch. Movies is you could just I don't know, Crystal Skull, that sucked.
Alien Resurrection.
Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, like we just go on and on.
What about games though?
Games?
Command & Conquer 4.
Resident Evil 6.
Oh, Resident Evil 6 was terrible.
It's fucking terrible. Made me throw up a little in my mouth.
Yeah, I threw up right now.
Infamous 3.
Oh yeah.
Second Son, it wasn't as good as the other ones, but it wasn't like.
But it was a complete departure from everything the game was.
How? It was a dude with superpowers from going around the city. How was it a departure?
Because they changed the mechanics of the game, they changed the tone of the game, they changed the story of the game, they changed I don't know, pretty much everything about the game.
They changed the mechanics of the game. You're flying
because it was a fucking shoot. The first one was a shooter. The third one was a melee game. You cannot change the mechanics of the game further than that.
It was still a shooter game. I don't know what.
No, it wasn't. You couldn't shoot for jack shit in that game. All the awesome stuff I did in Infamous, all the awesome stuff I did in the first two Infamouses, I could not do in that third game. It was constrictive and it was derivative.
All right, I disagree. I know what will top all of these. The one thing we've neglected a major franchise that we thought could do no wrong, that has been a favorite for us since children, and completely fell on its face. And you know what I'm gonna say? The fucking Star Wars prequels.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. That's the bottom of the barrel.
Is that you dropping the mic?
That's it. Yeah. Nothing else. Like that's it. Well, now it's being redeemed with the newer movies, with Force Awakens and whatever else they come out with. But the prequels, I don't care what you say. Shit. I know people out there like, no, I loved it. No.
You're like, how old were you? 4? You're not even old. Well, actually, no. But I don't know. You're not even old enough to know what is good or not.
Oh.
I think I have an answer actually. But you guys continue. Sorry.
You can say it right now. Go ahead.
No, say
okay.
what you say.
I'm gonna say Final Fantasy VIII.
That's not a bad answer, actually.
Coming off of Final Fantasy VI into 7, I was a huge Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy 8 was so bad that I walked away from the series. I played some of 9, but then I played 9, and then I went back and I tried to play 8 because I was like, man, I really got to try and like this, and it left such a bad taste in my mouth, and I was so pissed about the draw system that I walked away from the series, and I have yet to return.
Yeah, I eventually finished the game, Brett. 10 years later, I was like, let me just finish. I stopped, because remember, there's 4 discs in the game, right? I stopped playing halfway through the 4th disc. You know why? Because I didn't fucking suck up enough magic from enemies in the previous 3 discs, and I got stuck. I'm like, why the fuck do I have to spend hours on end just sucking up fucking magic? This is stupid. I hate this shit. You know, and then the whole scaling system, it's like, why can't I beat that fucking red T-Rex in the training room? Like, because he kept getting, scaling with me. I hate, fuck Final Fantasy VIII, man. I'm totally with you on that one. Fuck the draw system. Fucking bullshit.
That game was so bad that nobody ever even played Final Fantasy IX, and that was an actually good game.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. It soured people in Final Fantasy IX. How fucked up is that?
Yeah.
You know? I know Charles will disagree. He loves Final Fantasy VIII. It's like, why? The game sucks. Ugh.
Oh, no.
And every other teenage girl can.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it had a cool intro. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, that was the most impressive thing out of the game. Which, by the way, Squall's dead.
Okay, good. Whatever. Who cares?
I felt like that game was really trying to pull in like more of a female audience.
Yeah, I can see that.
It just kind of failed.
Ugh. All right, moving on here. Gary, how long is it going to be before Tony starts playing all multi-platform games on PC and only exclusives on PS4? Oh, man. It already kind of happened. And I'm going to tell you guys a story. I was going to say it on the last episode, but I'll say it now, right? So I finally decided, you know what, fuck it. Brett, I took your advice and Manny's advice. Like, dude, just plug your fucking television right to your PC. It's right there. I'm like, okay, fuck it, did it. So I started playing Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, right? Because somebody gifted it to me. I'm playing. I'm like, hey, this looks pretty good. It looks as good as the PS4 one. A little bit better, a little bit not too much better. Oh, and then I saw the ending scene. Holy shit! Like, you saw this detailing crap. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I'm not buying shit on the PS4 anymore.
Which, by the way, you weren't impressed by the actual game. You were impressed by the cinematic.
Yes, I'm like, this what you could do. This is crazy. So, I went out to buy, Unravel. That was the first game. I'm like, fuck it, I'm buying Unravel on fucking PC. I could just jack that shit up all the way. No real problems. I also did the same thing with why do I have my hair in my mouth? So, what's it? Firewatch, same thing. Jack that shit up. Now it's cool. I'm putting out videos in 60 frames a second. So. But here's the thing, to answer the question truthfully, Dying Light, obviously, I bought on PS4 because I want to play with Chris and Brett. I'm going to buy Doom on PS4, so I want to play with you guys. Street Fighter 5, same thing. Getting it for PS4 because I want to play with people. So if it's a single-player game, third-party, I'm probably getting it on PC. But if it's multiplayer and I know I'm going to play with my buddies, I'll get it on PS4 because who's going to, okay, it's two things. No one's really playing on PC. And to Brett's favorite thing, there's a lot of fucking hackers, and I don't want to deal with that nonsense, So for the future, but here's the funny thing: I bought this crazy ass PC, right? Cost like a ton of money, and now I find out it's obsolete because it can't run fucking Quantum Break. It's like, what the fuck?
Welcome to all the PCs.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, here's the thing: is that you.
I can play it, by the way, just so people know I can play it, just not at Mega Max.
Here's the thing: the system that Torrent suggested for you was a system that was within your budget. Now the thing is,
I told, but it was a budget. I told Torrent, like, take that budget shit out, give me the most badass shit you can.
Well, the thing is, it was obviously your graphic card's higher than that, but I mean, would have shot up your system the amount of money your system would have taken. So yeah. He gave you a good card for what it was, and a good system for what it was. But the thing is,
I wouldn't have minded paying another $200.
No, you wouldn't have been able. Wouldn't be. What they're looking for with Quantum Break, right? Is they're looking for maximum settings. So that means you're talking like a $300 card way better, more RAM,
By the way, I've been talking to and I'm asking you guys specifically here, PC gaming guys, right? Because even I've been asking the PC gamers, I'm like, what game in history has taken 16 gigs of RAM recommended? And they're like, no, we've never seen that shit before. All the PC gamers are saying that Microsoft didn't code this game correctly. It shouldn't be that crazy. This game has a higher spec things than Fallout 4 and The Witcher, which are the most intensive games out there.
Here's the thing. These are the things that these people are not taking into consideration. There is probably a shitload of post-processing going on in that game when you put that thing into maximum settings. So to run the game 60, in a high frame rate, maybe let's say 60 frames a second, plus throwing a bunch of post-processing effects on top of it, which is blurs and all kinds of weird, all kinds of shit
the time manipulation stuff.
Running all that shit right on top of that, that's gonna take up a lot of RAM. That's why a lot of companies have been saying, we got this really great system, and we could do all these live post-processing effects, and it won't take any and it won't impact the gameplay.
Yeah, but here's my question: how is it going to run on Xbox One if it has all this crazy shit?
Well, the thing is, they obviously have they have maximum scenario. Like, okay, this is what it looks. This is how we want it to look, right? On the Xbox, they're saying, okay, you know what? We'll take away these certain things, and people won't really notice.
Yeah, very interesting. So to answer the question, if it's a single-player game, right? Single-player third-party game, I'm buying on PC. If it's multiplayer and I know I'm going to play with my buddies, I'm going to get on PS4 because that's where everybody is. Simple as that.
Does that mean you will if the new Metal Gear comes out eventually by who? Does that mean you will buy the PC version?
The new Metal Gear. Buy that shit. Yeah, the new Metal Gear will be a pachinko machine in an arcade in Japan.
Will you buy the pachinko machine on PC or would you
virtual pachinko?
It's Kojima behind it. Come on, we answer this. I'm not buying that new Metal Gear game.
I will still buy it.
What if Rising? What if they just make sequels to that?
If they make a sequel to Rising, then I'm done. I'm not.
That's what I think they're gonna do.
I don't think, but the thing is that even Kojima was looking over that thing too. So,
Yeah. All right. I moved this question up the timeline because it's kind of tied into this. Mike Madden asked me, Tony, now that the Xbox One doesn't have any more exclusives, do you regret buying it? That was the first thing that came to my mind, man. Like, when I heard about Quantum Break, because I was already looking forward to it on Xbox. I'm like, hey, I'll have that to play on Xbox. Then it's like, shit, what the fuck am I going to use this box for now? And now I have the PC here, which I could just use to watch YouTube videos on my TV. It's like, Xbox, you're kind of redundant now, So, I don't know. I guess it's just good to have just for the sake of having it. But, yeah, if every game...
you could always sell your Xbox.
Yeah, I'll keep it, because I already bought it, and again, I could use that as ammo too. I got all the systems. Fuck you. Who you calling?
No, you can't use it as ammo because you're like, I kind of regret buying an Xbox.
No, I'm not saying I do, but you know what I mean? Like, I do and I don't. I'm mixed. Because here's the thing. Okay, we already know Gears of War is coming to PC. We know Scalebound's coming to PC. That's all their exclusives this year. This goes back to what I said before. You really just need a PC and a PS4, and you're good.
Here's the thing, though, about that. I think definitely for people who do not want to deal with all the BS that has to go with PC gaming, that's fine. It's a fine alternative.
I agree.
If somehow Steam was able to work out all the kinks and think about have a good version of the Steam box, definitely would invest in something like that.
You can. You just have to do a little work. Well, I think a good version of the Steam box runs Windows, runs Steam client, and you're good. You'll have 100% compatibility. That's how you fix a Steam box. But so with Tony's situation, if he didn't have the beast PC he has now, then the Xbox would look far more favorable. And I think for a lot of people, that is a good option, right? They don't have a good PC, or they don't have a PC near their living room. Like I don't. My PC's in But I play my PS4 in my living room, right? I play Xbox One in there. So unless I plan to get another Steam box, I eventually do, which then it'll be like, what do I have this for? But I still will enjoy my Xbox One. I'm sure a lot of people in that position, they don't have a PC near their television or want to put a PC in their living room. So you have the Xbox.
Yeah.
You have that
So
option.
it's a weird thing. It's like, fuck, I kind of don't need this anymore. You know, yeah, I'm not saying that to be an asshole. It's just kind of the truth. You know, like what do I need an Xbox One for? I have Rise on my PC, dude. I have Alan Wake on PC. Kind of don't need it, you know. And it's again not some fanboy shit. It's just the truth. But the thing is, even that's part of the reason why a lot of these guys got so mad about Quantum Break coming to PC. They're like, what the fuck do I need an Xbox for now? You know. But like Manny said, if you can't afford a crazy ass PC, that Xbox looks pretty nice, doesn't it? You know.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that yes, of course you're gonna put them side by side. Yes, they're gonna look different. But otherwise, it's gonna look really good.
Yeah.
So if you have an Xbox, you're good.
Yeah.
If you have a PC, you're good too.
All those guys that were mad at me because I was a PlayStation gamer for all these years, right? I'm gonna give them a little bit of a victory because think about it. What do I use to play PC games? It ain't the PS4 controller. I'm using that Xbox controller, so I got to get used to that shit, because I still prefer the PS controller, but unless they make like a good fucking emulator driver, whatever it is, drivers, I can't really use.
I said.
Yeah, he just told you about it.
That's right. Thank you for that, Chris. But I got to use that because I'm still using a fucking Xbox.
I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't work for every game.
Yeah,
I've had issues. That the part of the reason why I got rid of it. It doesn't work for everything.
Yeah, it has problems, but for the most part, it works. But you can always put in your Xbox controller too.
Yeah, because
that pretty much works with everything.
All the time. Yeah, that works with everything.
That has a native driver, so it's fine.
Yeah, it was cool. I just plugged it in. It's like, okay, Windows 10, let's go. All right. Next up, Fern Gully. Staying on the Xbox tip, it was said that backwards compatibility would be an underestimated feature that would help secure the holidays for Microsoft. How influential, if at all, is backwards compatibility, and are Xbox-only fans actually taking full advantage of it? We kind of talked about this. Backwards compatibility is great when a system first launches. As the years keep going on in the generation, it becomes less and less important. And yeah, by the end of this year, it's not really going to be that important. But I will say the way they implemented backwards compatibility is good. You pop in a game, you play, that's it. I love the way they implemented it. I just think it's a little, too little too late, It should have been here at the beginning. But who knows, maybe they wanted it at the beginning. They just weren't able to roll it out, But it would have been really good. That would have been like a good incentive. Like, hey, we got real backwards compatibility. What do you got, PS4? They could still say that, though, but it's just a little too late. As far as the second half of the question, I don't understand it. Like, what do you mean fully taking advantage of it? I don't understand that one.
I think he's saying it's Xbox fanboys were screaming about this feature. Are they actually using it?
No, see, okay. That's a good question, right? Because you know what? I will say this, even though I don't know how many crazy fanboys I have on my friends list, but I don't see any of those guys playing those old games. When I go on Xbox, I don't see any of my friends playing old games at all, man. They're all playing the new shit.
I don't think so either. I think if you have the current gen stuff, especially Xbox One, you're probably playing the latest stuff. You're probably playing Tomb Raider or whatever, Halo 5 or whatever. You're not playing Halo 3 or something. You're not playing old games, like pretty much. Unless you're playing Rare Replay, you're probably not playing old stuff in emulation.
Yeah. So what do you say about all this, man?
Me, I think it's great that they did it. I don't think the hype was real for it. I think that saying that, it's going to be this excellent feature, it's great to have, and I'm glad they have it. And I'm kind of still like, hey, Sony, why didn't you make this happen yet? And we know why, because PS Now. That's why. But I still think it's a good feature. Are a lot of people using it? I doubt it.
Well, like I said,
I really don't play any old games on there. I don't. I don't like when I fire up my PS3. It's mostly to just watch movies and shit. That's really why I have it still hooked up.
Man,
Like,
by the way, this goes back to what I was talking about before. I downloaded Witcher 2, right, for PC because for 360 because it was free. Now I got it on PC. I'm like, I kind of don't need to play it on 360.
right.
You know.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then you
you're
go to
right.
some of
Yeah.
these sales. Like I have old games on 360, right? But you go on Steam, and some of these games are like $7,
Okay.
$8. You could just buy
Yeah.
it on there and play it. So yeah, I think it's a moot point by now. It's going to get more irrelevant as time goes on, but I think it's already pretty irrelevant. I don't think
Yeah.
the people who are screaming about it are actually using it. I don't. I think they're just playing new stuff.
Exactly. They just talked about it because it's ammo they could use, right? But even
Right.
though they're not using it,
Yeah, I was angry at the PS3 days when they pulled the backwards compatibility out of the PS3. I was mad about that. I was furious. I was like, "How dare you, Sony?" You know what? You know how many PS2 games I played in my PS3, which was backwards compatible? 0.
See,
Done.
you mad over nothing.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
was mad, and I did definitely spit hot fire over it. But you know what? At the end of the day, I did not play one PS2 game on my PS3, even though it had hardware backwards compatibility in it. I never used it for that. I still had my PS2, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. See, there you go. Because you had new shit to play.
Yeah,
You know.
and I was playing new shit.
I played Psychonauts.
Oh,
By the way, yeah.
I don't count downloading shit off the store as stuff. They set that up.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Brett, thoughts? Backwards compatibility.
It seems good in theory, but like I'm the same with everybody else. Like I never actually go back and use it, which is weird because I'll sometimes go back and play older games on my PC, but I can always mod them or upgrade the graphics or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's always one of those things like, oh, I'm gonna go back. It's like some of the novels I have laying around. Like, yeah, I'd love to go back and read them, but if I'm gonna sit down and read a novel, there's probably at least a few novels in my list of things that I still have yet to read the first time. Like, I'd love to go back and watch Game of Thrones all from the beginning, but I don't necessarily have the time for that now. Yeah, it'd be great for it to be an option, but games are even worse because games are a huge time investment. I mean, you're talking about going and spending 60 hours, or not even 60 hours in all cases, but up to 60 hours in some cases, reliving an experience that you liked. So I think that it would be nice, but I think the amount of effort that the companies would need to put in and the amount of cost that would be passed along to the consumers would be not worth it. For instance, anybody most likely who's playing on a PlayStation today can probably buy the games they want from the PlayStation Store, for the less than the cost it would have, for less than the additional cost that would have been included in the PS4 to make it backwards compatible. So the system that we're using, while it feels like, oh, we don't have backwards compatibility, like for the most part, it's not really an issue.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Next up, consoles used to aim to conquer the living room with all these devices: smartphones, tablets, laptops, etc. How often do you actually use your console for things other than games?
Oh, all the time. What the hell else do you watch your Netflix on?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I watch all my streaming stuff on either PS3 or PS4. Usually my PS3 I use for Blu-rays and stuff. I usually use that as my movie machine when I put a disc in. The PS4 is everything else. I watch Hulu, Netflix, YouTube, whatever. I watch on there. If I'm in my living room, that's where I watch it. So yeah, all the time.
Yeah. I use my PS4 to watch Kiss anime.
That too.
Yeah.
Yes, I had
So
that on there.
Yeah, I use it for that. I use the Xbox to watch, or I used to watch the Xbox to watch shit I have on my PC. My PC. And that's pretty much it. I don't, most of the time I use them for gaming, but I do some for like music. I just listen to it on my PC. What else? That's pretty much it. Just watching shit. But yeah, definitely my Xbox used to get more shine. As far as the media goes. PlayStation, I never really used it too much to watch other shit. Brian goes pretty much never. Every other device I own outclasses my PS4 and everything but gaming. So that's his answer. What about you, Manny? How often do you use your PS4 for other things other than gaming?
It's funny because I mostly use the PS4 for gaming, and my PlayStation 3 is like the everything else thing. So or my television is the like I run through my television. I run Netflix because it has a Netflix app in it. Or sometimes sometimes the TV app is kind of shitty. I'll use the PlayStation 3 one. I usually run DVDs through the PlayStation 3 because it has a better driver for Blu-rays than the PlayStation 4. Let's see what else. Yeah, I mean, I don't really run that much through the PlayStation 4 other than gaming.
Yeah, that's pretty much because that's what happened to me too, dude. Like as soon as I got a PS4, PS3 became the media thing, you know.
Yeah, so like I mean, to be honest, I did go. I mean, it's funny though. I did go back a few times and played some PS3 games. I mean, I did just as a cleanser after beating. I forgot what game after playing a bunch of open world games. I actually played Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance because I had it still on the hard drive.
Oh, man. All right.
I think I beat it in a weekend.
Yeah. All right. And last question here by Mr. Ferngully. Certain industry veterans prophesied that Knack 2 would never be created, even though it actually sold more than some highly touted AAA exclusives that didn't chart. Man, jabs, like 2 jabs in that shit right there. We are now hearing that Knack 2 has been in development for a good minute. Does this prove that opinions or sales are the #1 factor in getting a sequel? It's always been fucking money, dude. If a game sells a lot, it's going to get a sequel. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, if you think it's a shitty game. If it makes a lot of fucking money, it's going to get a sequel. And by the way, I didn't know about Knack getting a sequel. Knack was shit. So I hope it's not just a glorified tech demo this time. It's actually a real legit game, you know. But Knack, nothing was interesting about that. Like, if it's a Knack 2, do it from scratch, because the mechanic of building yourself up and stuff was good. Everything else about the game was fucking terribly implemented, you know. And I want to know, is Mark Cerny involved? Probably not, but it would be interesting, you know. And if he is involved, will he get the platinum for that one, like he got the platinum in Knack?
Yeah,
you know?
I'm gonna now that we're on the Mark Cerny thing. Mark Cerny is a beast as far as people who in the industry goes. If you ever managed to get to see what his PlayStation level is, it's actually pretty high, and he's got a pretty decent amount of platinum trophies. Even Yoshida doesn't have that.
By the way, people, when I went over to Manny's house for New Year's, we just looked at. We
were literally
famous,
Yeah, we were literally looking at all these kind of big, because you can follow big game developers now. You can actually see which ones of the guys that actually have it, that actually completed their own games.
Yeah.
Or have more than one platinum trophy.
Yeah, and that dude, like, there's some other guys like Gio Corsi. That guy has a lot of fucking games, man. Like, he doesn't have a lot of platinum, but it's like every game, man.
Yeah, well, of course, obviously, he probably works at Sony. He gets every single game comped. You'll see a lot of that, especially if you look at like reviewers. They'll probably have a really like game reviewers. They'll have probably a lot of trophies, but they don't probably have a lot of platinum games because they don't usually play games all the way through. They just kind of beat the game, and then they don't take it any further.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any? Yeah, go ahead, Manny.
But yeah, beast.
Yeah. I was just saying, does anybody else have any other kind of answer? This is pretty straightforward. It's money. Money gets you a sequel.
Yeah, that I agree with that. I mean, because yes, the public opinion was pretty bad, and it got some bad reviews, but got bad reviews. But at the same time, it still made money. But the thing is that also you have to take into account. I hope that Sony is thinking to try to improve the game rather than try to recreate the same formula over again. Because obviously, because it was one of those first games. When people go out and buy a new console, what do they want? They want software that shows off their friggin' game. Doesn't matter what it is.
Right? Yeah, that's why I bought that piece of shit. I was like, hey, I got a new system. I need games for it. Knack, let's go. Same reason I bought Killzone. Both were terrible games.
Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing about that is I don't really understand why you even bought Killzone. Just because. I mean, you should have just you wouldn't normally buy that is literally your first Killzone game.
Yeah, and my last Killzone game. First and last. I bought it because I'm like, okay, this is Sony's flagship shooting, thing. It looks really nice. It's strong off my PS4. Let's go. Yeah, I regretted that decision. That was a terrible fucking game.
All I gotta say is don't let that sort of don't let that sort of thing get in the way of you buying. Just because there's there's nothing else, I'll just buy this. Try to live by the same will that you've always lived by. Don't change the rules because you don't have enough of something.
Well, no, I mean, when you get a system for first time, rules change. That's the same reason I bought Soul Calibur. I'm like, hey, I need a fighting game. Let's go. I don't know anything about the Soul Calibur thing.
You know how I bought
Soul? To be a good thing.
You know how I bought Soul Calibur? I played Soul Blade.
Yeah, exactly. Me, I didn't know. It's like, okay, it's a sequel to Soul Blade. I don't know, whatever.
Soul Blade was a good game. That's what it is.
I still say people could be forgiven when you just get a new console for the first time.
No, man, I've never done that.
Yeah, I've done
every
it.
Every single game that I've made an investment or bought are usually the ones that I've been, that I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to like this. Except for Watch Dogs.
Yeah. PS3 was an exception, obviously, because I got it a year after it came out, so I had my pick. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get Assassin's Creed, I'm going to get fucking Ratchet and Clank, and I'm going to get Uncharted. That was pretty good, All right, next up here, Red Inferno, or Corey.
Corey.
Do you feel the Deadpool... Brett, here you go, man. Do you feel the Deadpool sequel should continue to follow a similar linear plot like the first, or do you want them to go big?
I think that they should do whatever Ryan Reynolds wants to do.
Yeah, because that worked, this time,
Yeah, it's... I mean, it had a linear plot. I don't know what he means by go big.
Okay, this
is the way saving the world.
Yeah, because here's the thing: you gotta admit, this movie was pretty small scale. It was a very personal kind of story. So he's not sure to go crazier and bigger.
Yeah, I don't think that they should go big scale with it in terms of like big world saving the world, because that's not the character of Deadpool. Deadpool doesn't actually change the world in any way on his own. And if he does, it's completely by accident. That's kind of the beauty of him and that's shown a lot through a lot of his kind of cameos. It's great when Deadpool stumbles into other people's stories. He doesn't really have a whole lot of story outside of himself. Deadpool does something because somebody he'll buy a new action figure, and then somebody will swipe it driving by with a car and destroy his action figure, setting off a long chain of events where Deadpool seeks vengeance for his crushed action figure. Why? Just because it's all about Deadpool. His world is very small. It's I can't see him as a character being really wanting to try and save the world. Getting caught up in it, maybe, but not trying to. And a lot of those big arcing narrative superhero themes wouldn't really work for him because he's very reactionary.
Yeah, totally. Actually, because Brett, I know you got to leave soon. I want to jump in with Brian's question because he asked, with the success of Deadpool, what comic book movies would you like to see rated R? Let's talk about the whole thing. This movie did very well box office. It did as good as Guardians of the Galaxy and Winter Soldier. It proves that people want to see R-rated movies, superhero movies. So
it didn't just do well. It was one of the highest. Hold on, let me pull up the statistics here.
Because I know you.
Give me a second. Somebody else talk for a second.
I'll vamp. Don't worry about it. So yeah, here's the thing. This was obviously going to happen, right? If you make a really good movie, people are going to go see it, right? But I also believe this was the right time to do it. Superhero movies have become standard now, right? We know the formula, Tony,
you want some statistics?
Go ahead, man.
Okay. It has scored the top opening for a February release with $135 million over FFS and $150 million to $153 million over FSSM. It beat 50 Shades of Grey first weekend last year. It also beat Matrix Reloaded $91 million opening to become the highest rated R-rated debut of all time, not to mention that it's the biggest opening Fox executives have ever seen, clearly surpassing Star Wars Episode 3. And I also want to say it is the highest grossing superhero. It is the highest grossing first iteration for a superhero movie ever, only behind Marvel's The Avengers, which was already an established franchise. So therefore, this is the highest grossing first superhero movie of all time.
That's fucking amazing, man. That
bigger than Man of Steel, bigger than Spider-Man, bigger than Iron Man, bigger than Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that's wow. I didn't even know that. That's fucking insane, man. But here's the thing I wanted to run on, Brent. I really want to hear your thoughts, right? I think that it was the right time for this movie because superhero movies have become standard. Marvel set the standard, right? And we've been on that same standard for the last 8 years or so, right? There's a certain expectation you have when you go to see a superhero movie. This movie threw all that shit away. It's completely different, something no one has seen, at modern age. Like obviously, if you read the comics, you knew what you were getting, but modern, regular audience, I'm talking about people who just see superheroes in movies or on TV. This is something they've never seen before, So I think the time was right because, again, this is all standardized now. This movie would have been made 8 years ago. It may have not hit as well as it did now, So what do you think about that?
I think people are more open to superhero movies, period, now. They're more open to them being actual good movies because for a long time, superhero films were treated, with a fair amount of disdain. I mean, even as look at the first 3 X-Men movies. Regardless of how you feel about them, they were not treated with loving reverence and care. They just kind of threw shit at the wall to see what sticks because these nerds love this shit. It wasn't made for us. So like this is a very, we've come a long way, I guess, is what I'm saying. And a lot of the idea of, oh, you can't have a superhero movie for adults, like that was given to us by the fact that they weren't making superhero movie for adults. And Marvel about 8 years ago reversed that fact. They showed that you can have a superhero movie for adults. Watchmen was trying to do that too, but it didn't quite catch on. So I think you had, to a certain extent, you had to open a couple of doors. I also think that you're seeing a lot of this is pent up. A lot of this is because people had been wanting this for so long, myself included. I would have absolutely seen this movie 8 years ago, but do I want to see it more now? Is it more refreshing now? Absolutely. And I think I don't think that you're saying that we're sick of superhero movies, and I think that's also another important.
I'm saying that we've got accustomed to them, right? To the way they are. They all have a certain formula. This one bucks that. That's what I mean. It's like people are like, oh, this is cool. I haven't seen this before.
Yeah, no, there's absolutely never been a movie made like this. These kinds of movies, just all the pieces coming together. This is almost like Howard the Duck. Like it's something that's fun and it's kind of kiddish, but it's clearly made for adults. It's not for kids.
The original Howard the Duck comics, not the fucking shitty movie. Let's just get
the comics.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was like, that movie was terrible.
Yeah, that movie said comic book movies back 10 years.
Yeah. No, I meant the comics, but Heavy Metal was the same way. Like it was this weird kind of comic book for adults clearly thing, whereas Marvel and DC, once you got past a certain age, you're like, I can feel them holding back. So there's definitely an audience for this movie. I think this is the movie that everybody has been wanting to see. It's unapologetic, it's fun, it's smart, it's well done, and it's made by people who really honestly, genuinely care. And these are all the things that I've been saying for fucking ever need to happen. And I just want to say, like, I was so terrified this movie was going to be terrible. I am so incredibly happy with the way that it turned out, and like I take back everything I ever said about you, Ryan Reynolds. Obviously, the system was holding you down, and you are a scholar and a gentleman and a god amongst men, and you keep doing what you're doing. You just keep doing it.
And all I gotta say is, though, if you think about it, this is again a rated R superhero movie. There was one that was not that long ago. It was called Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass 1 and 2, actually very good films. So the thing is, the only reason why I feel that Kick-Ass didn't do, Kick-Ass did well, but it wouldn't have done Deadpool numbers is because it's Deadpool.
Oh, the name, right? Name recognition?
It's name recognition, totally.
Yeah, I have to disagree with that. Like, having seen both movies, Deadpool has, like, sure, Kick-Ass had ultra violence, and it had your little comedy relief and quipped one-liners, but it didn't have the irreverence. And I may be talking about the character Deadpool as well here, but there's a certain amount of irreverence. There's a certain amount of avant-garde that Deadpool brings to the table, and that was not just brought through with the character and the things that he said, but the whole movie in general. Like, there is no reason that much of a movie has to take place in a strip club. Am I complaining about it? No. Why'd they do it? Fuck it, just because. There's no reason why Ryan Reynolds needs to be walking around pantless in a Christmas sweater. Why? Just fucking because. It doesn't give you an excuse. It doesn't deem to apologize for anything that it does. It's just, it is. And that kind of attitude, I think, is what crystallizes what's so good about this movie. You can have all the same ingredients, like, oh, let's make something, super violent, and let's kind of have some funny. Like, fucking Ryan Reynolds was in Blade. I mean, it was all the same ingredients but it didn't really add up to the same thing.
Actually, Ryan Reynolds was in the only PG-13 Blade film.
Yeah, he was.
This is true. I forgot that was PG-13.
And Ryan Reynolds, and this was the reason I was apprehensive. Ryan Reynolds was Deadpool before, but this goes to show you, to prove it wasn't his fault. It was the fucking writers.
Oh, X-Men Origins Wolverine. No one should ever talk about that. Don't give that movie any power. Let it fade away.
That's what gave him his power to do this movie. He's producer of this movie.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
that's great. I mean, he's had a bad run. I mean, look at Green Lantern. Obviously, that's not his fault either, because that movie's terrible.
I want to say this about Ryan Reynolds. I said this on Spoiler Alert. I want to say it again here. This was the role he was born to play. To me, he's always been Van Wilder, right? And what is Deadpool? He's a psychotic Van Wilder, if you really think about it.
Dude, I thought that at the beginning of the movie. I was like, is this what Van Wilder did after college?
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude, that he's a psychotic Van Wilder. It fits perfectly. I want to, segue a little bit, Brett, to what you were saying before, Watchmen, because I've been thinking a lot about this. I honestly believe Watchmen hit at the wrong time. This was when people still weren't sure about superhero movies, right? What to make of them. I think if Watchmen would have came out now, people would be like, "Whoa, what the fuck is this? Like, the bad guy wins? What?"
I also think Watchmen took itself too seriously.
But Watchmen is a serious book.
Watchmen is.
That's what Watchmen is.
But that's what I'm saying. We can't separate that out of the conversation. I think one of the very
you're trying to say. Yeah, I know what you're saying. You're trying to say Deadpool is successful because it's funny, right? That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. It's not just dark and gritty. It's funny and dark and gritty and unapologetic and unnecessarily sexy. It's all of these. It's everything kind of turned up to 11. Not doing what Batman did and being like, we're gonna try and make something gritty. Not doing what other films have done and being like, oh, we're gonna try and make this uber violence. They didn't take it too seriously. They didn't have to frame it just because it was made for adults, like it's this gritty, dark story with lots of drama and death and blood. And that casts it aside from anything else that's ever been made.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's a good point. But I still think Watchmen probably do better now because now people know the formula and Watchmen. Because remember, what's Watchmen? It's a deconstruction of that formula, right?
It is, but you don't think people would be I would not watch Watchmen anymore after all this fucking Batman and Man of Steel shenanigans. This whole we're gonna be gritty and dark, blah blah blah. We're gonna tell you a hero story, the like of a hero story you've never been told. I'd be like, fucking sit on it and spin. That is the most tired trope cliche, I think. It'd be like, we're going to stray away from typical superhero movies. Every fucking show, every fucking
but what started that? Watchmen originally started that too,
I would say Watchmen started that because it was such a miserable failure that people were afraid to follow in its footsteps.
I'm talking about the original book. That's what set the whole trend. Let's tell a different type of superhero story. So basically, because I see movies as a mini microcosm of what happened in the industry, the comic book industry, right? You had these fun movies, kind of silly movies, right? And then you get the serious shit, later on, and I think, even though Deadpool's not serious, it's taking what's already established and just flipping it on its head. I think Watchmen, it does that just naturally, so it would be better received.
I've actually grown less tolerant of Watchmen as the years have gone on, personally.
Interesting. Okay, I don't feel that way because I do watch Watchmen, occasionally. I'm just like, damn, man, this movie was so far ahead of its time, I really believe that, my only gripe is, the ending, and I think now they probably would have had the real ending because we're far enough away from 9/11 and stuff, But anyway, going back to Deadpool. Yes, I'm happy this movie is successful because now we're going to get more R-rated shit. And let's just answer the actual question now. So what other movies do you want to see R-rated? I already had my answer. Manny, we talked about this right after the movie. We want to see motherfucking Wolverine R-rated.
Yep. Which, by the way, the Wolverine was supposed to be a rated R film. In fact, you can buy the rated R version of the film on DVD, on a Blu-ray. So yeah, wouldn't it be great to see Wolverine chop somebody and their arm comes off?
Yeah, and blood.
And blood.
Blood?
You know, I think it's kind of interesting though. It's like how these how we're everybody likes to pretend that people don't have blood in them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you punch somebody in the face, they get a little brown spot on their face. That's the way it goes. Even though every single kid on the school court knows they get punched in the nose, they're gonna get a nosebleed.
Well, I mean, I love Winter Soldier, but people get shot and they just fall over. There's no blood anywhere.
Yeah, she's yeah. So Wolverine, that would be great. And here's the thing, I said this on Spoiler too. I find it funny that the most honest portrayal of Wolverine outside of the comic books was in the X-Men Origins game. That's the first time you saw Wolverine chopping dudes up and limbs flying off and shit. You never see that in the comic. You never see that in the cartoon. You never see that in the movie. You saw it in the video game, ironically enough, Hilarious. Yeah, Wolverine. And if the new Daredevil dude gets a movie, I want to see that shit be R-rated too. Let's see if Marvel Studios will have the balls to do a fucking R-rated movie. Since Disney owns that shit, I dare them to do that. Probably won't happen, but I would dare them to do that shit.
I know Fox is doing the other ones.
Yeah. If anything, Disney owns like 3 different movie studios, so they could easily make it a Touchstone film or make it a friggin' put it under Miramax.
Yeah.
Dimension Films, Disney too.
Let's see if Disney does that shit, man. What other movies would you like to see be rated R? Comic book movies.
I'd like to see a Max movie.
That would, that would be a hard pill to swallow, man.
That'd be really trippy for people.
I know, it'd be great. Like, come on, like those borderline psychotic movies, people eat that shit up.
But see, again, with Max, I think the time is right. I think people might take to that if you present it the right way,
Mm-hmm.
They might take to that now.
I want somebody to give me a good Punisher movie.
Oh, yes, remember, the Dolph Lundgren was R-rated too.
Yeah, but anything Marvel in the 80s, like, no. Just, no. No.
I would like to see them finally make a Ghost Rider movie since they've never made a Ghost Rider movie before.
No, they made a Nicolas Cage.
They've never made
a on
Ghost
fire.
Rider
He just happens to be riding a motorcycle in screen. But that wasn't Ghost Rider.
Yeah. You must be talking about some crazy acid trip dream, man, because they've never made a Ghost Rider.
It was actually a long pachinko ad.
Here's one. We talked about this on this Spoiler too. X-Force, I'm not talking about old school X-Force, I'm talking about the new X-Force.
The new X-Force.
With Deadpool and X-23 and Wolverine. Oh, shit. Dude, cutting motherfuckers up.
I want to see, I love Deadpool next to a straight man. That would be such a good team-up if you put the right cast in that.
Like the way he bounced off with Colossus. Now, by the way, I need to say about this movie, and Manny, you brought this up. I like the fact that Colossus had metal plating. He wasn't just a silver dude. He looked like the motherfucker from the comics.
I know! Oh, thank God. Yeah, he wasn't made of fucking Quicksilver. Like, way to actually look at a comic book, Ryan Reynolds. Thank you.
Well, actually, that wasn't Ryan Reynolds. That was the director.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, the director.
Man, you think if Ryan Reynolds directed these films? He only wrote the damn script.
He wrote it. He directed it. He hated the motherfucker.
He produced it and started it. He had sway over shit that went on.
Yeah, but the thing is that the director himself said, "Listen, as I don't want." He said that guy that Quicksilver guy is not Colossus. I want to make the real Colossus in this. And Fox said, "Sure." Now that's cool too.
That is really cool. I think Fox did a great job of just being like, you know what, we fucked up Fantastic Four. We're done making important decisions. You just be you.
The thing is that they even had the years that they had into making Fantastic Four, right? It took them so long to make that film, right? This movie, you got to give it to this film. Deadpool was filmed in 48 days, right? And it was only started filming a year ago, and it's done.
And it only costs like $50 million to make.
Yeah, $56 million.
But you don't feel it in the film, although Deadpool himself kind of
references that.
He references
like that. Another X-Man.
It's strange that this house is always empty, and you two are the only two that I see. It's almost as if the studio couldn't afford any other X-Men.
Oh, which professor, McAfee or Stewart?
Yes.
I just want to point out that Deadpool somehow costs less than an Adam Sandler movie.
Oh shit!
It's true.
Oh, but they have to pay me money.
I want to take all my brothers on vacation. What would I do?
Also, I want to say one of my favorite points in that whole thing, and this isn't a spoiler, was when they said that Cable's coming. Like,
Brett, the spoilers stuff.
Oh.
that's not a spoiler.
Yes, it is. That's a mega spoiler, dude.
That is not a spoiler. It is all over every fucking news site. It's movie news. It has nothing to do with the plot.
Don't stop.
Stop it right there, Brett. Before you give everything away.
It has nothing to do with the movie.
Stop. Yes, it does. Yes, it totally does. You just gave it away. All right. So yeah.
We'll do you guys a favor and not tell you exactly where this is said. How about them apples?
He's talking about the cable bill. All right. Yes, Deadpool. Yeah, fucking awesome, man. Great fucking movie. So yeah, stuff. Brett, you got to leave, right?
Yeah, I got to bounce.
All right. So I had to throw it at you, man. So thank you for being on, dude. We'll see you next time.
Yeah,
pleasure as always, folks.
All right, man. Later.
Catch you all next time.
Later.
Deuces.
All right. Let's move on here. Next question by Corey.
I had one more thing. One more character. One more movie. Well, a couple more movies. DC should just make if they have a hard on for Batman now after this Batman Superman movie, and I saw that last trailer and I got kind of hyped again. I did. You want to do a hardcore Batman story? Do Killing Joke. Make that R-rated.
Yeah, you know what? See, I'm thinking small. I'm thinking Marvel. Ooh, let's just go out to DC and all that shit.
Yeah,
I want to see a real motherfucker. Okay, I just read today that Todd McFarlane is writing a Spawn movie. Make that shit art. Let's get a real fucking
About friggin' time. Maybe they can have an all-black cast this time around.
Ooh.
And Marvel, you have DC, you haven't answered. There's X-Men movies. You haven't answered the X-Men, and you have a fucked up one called Doom Patrol. Like an R-rated movie with a Doom Patrol. And Marvel, you have an even more effed up Batman. He's called Moon Knight. Give me an R-rated movie of Moon Knight. He's fucking crazy. I mean, Deadpool is like fourth wall breaking, but Moon Knight is certifiable nuts.
Yeah,
right?
he's fucking crazy. Exactly. There you go. Ooh, man, so many, man. So
you know, maybe they could actually do some of those kind of Marvel horror books. Like, you know, fucking
Dracula,
Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf by Night, or friggin' any of the other
Dracula.
Yeah, Tomb of Dracula. It's a Dracula film. You can't do that. Everybody makes Dracula films.
But they could have Morbius instead.
They could have Morbius. Well, no, they can't. They can only have those in Spider-Man films.
Oh no, they got the deal, man. You know.
Yeah, well, we don't know. We don't know the full details of that deal.
Well, okay, then let Sony do a Morbius movie.
We could do Morbius.
Morbius, boy.
I will not suck your plasma. I will suck your blood.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, let's move on here. Which of you guys is picking up Street Fighter V, and who will be your main fighter? Brian goes, my main fighter is Blanca, so no Blanca equals no buy.
Which, by the way, Blanca's birthday was over the weekend. It was the 12th. He was born in 1966, which means he is 50 years old, nigga.
Oh, man.
So when you add his character in the game, is he just going to have gray hair like Dawson now?
Yes.
He's going to be older.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of aging that's going on in that game. Even M. Bison's got
but it's
temples.
weird. The women haven't aged. It's just the men. Like Bison's
they get
gray hair.
hotter looking somehow, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's me and Chris getting the game.
Yeah. Ken's my main, so I'm good. I'll be using Ken. I'll probably try Karen out, but Ken's my main guy. He's always been my main guy. So.
You know, okay. Obviously, like Akuma has always been my main guy, right? But the thing is, here's the thing: I have a main guy, but then I try not to use them that much. I try to use other guys, you know, so that because I want to be good with everyone, you know. But yeah, they no Akuma in this game, so.
No, dude, your dude is fucking Ryu. Just face it. Yeah, you've always been good with Ryu.
Oh yeah, he is okay. Yeah, he is my main, but again, I always try to use.
You'll make you fight that shit.
Yeah.
Don't fight the Dark Hado.
You always want to have a secondary that's fun. Like in the last game, I tried Jury, I tried Abel, right? They're not in this game now, so I figured maybe I'll try Karen, or maybe I'll try that guy with the weird hair. I don't know. I forgot his name.
Yeah. What was the other one? And here's the shitty thing: they don't have any more charged characters. Those always used to be my backup. Charlie was my backup, you know. But
well, they got Nash, right?
they got Nash, but he's not
is
a
that
charge
Frank and
character.
Charlie?
No, yeah, but Charlie is not a charge character anymore. You know,
Oh,
they
that's
changed
right.
that shit,
That changed it. Yeah, that's
which
true.
kind of stinks. Like, can I get a real charge character back, please? Like, I know they're trying to streamline it, but come on, guys, give me a charge character. You know? So yeah, it'll be fucking Ryu. See, you may have stopped fighting it. Ryu.
Yeah, for me, a big Ken.
Ryu. Don't you mean Ryu? I'm old school, motherfucker. We used to call him Ryu back in the day.
Yo, man, back in the day, nobody knew what the fuck that guy's name was.
Remember the Wholesome?
Dazzlem. There we go.
Dazzlem. The Wholesome.
He was Dawson instead of
We didn't know what to call
Dalsine.
those motherfuckers, man.
Yeah, nobody knew. It was like if you ever watched the Street Fighter movie with Van Damme, there's like 3 different pronunciations of the way to say Ryu. One guy, Sagat says Ryu, friggin' says, and Bison says Ryu.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Last question from Corey. Do you think Final Fantasy 15 will live up to the hype, or do you feel that the diminishing returns of the 13 series may have hurt interest? Brian goes, I think that not being called Versus 13 and having an active battle system is enough to separate it from the 13 series and any stigma. That's a good point. Yeah, I think this is the game, again, people, even though it's called Final Fantasy 15, they know it's Versus 13. This is shit they've been waiting for years, so I don't think people are going to be disappointed in that regard. You know, the 13's not going to hurt at all, you know. I'm still hyped for the fucking game. I want it now, you know. I played that demo. I thought it was cool, you know, and people seem to be genuinely excited for it. Will it be a disappointment? I can't answer that, but I hope it isn't, you know.
Yeah, I'll agree with what you said. I agree with Brian with what Brian said with the active balance. It's different enough that, and people have been waiting for this game a long time. I think even with the diminishing returns of 13, if you didn't think the sequels did well, people have been waiting for this game. They were hyped for Versus 13, right? Forever. It's just been in the ether. So now that it's its own number, and it's you know, and it has a little different gameplay. Probably will have a big world and whatever. I watched some gameplay of the demo, and it looked cool. I think it will do well.
Yeah, for sure. Manny, thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with everybody else. I don't think that the fact that it was at some point connected to the other one, to 13, will hurt it. You know, here's the thing about it. I mean, not some of the Final Fantasy games are connected in some weird ways. You know,
I mean, they have things that are
whether it be stories or even characters or even certain little things. There is, but they don't in general connect. It's kind of cool that it does connect in some way, or it might, or maybe it won't. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it has Lassie and all that shit, but it's really its own thing, you know. Final Fantasy 13 has no bearing at all on this game. As usual, it's Final Fantasy. They don't connect to each other, you know. All right, moving on to Brian's last 2 questions. They're both about Lego. Why aren't people sick and tired of the Lego games? They're all essentially reskins of the same game. I have an answer. This is the same answer that Brett provided us for why people keep buying Grand Theft Auto, because there's a new 6-year-old every single day. You know, kids keep buying this shit because there's more kids every day. You know, and plus the Lego games have a simplicity that kind of works for everybody. You know, it's kind of like, you know, it's one of those games you play and you don't have to invest too much. You play a little bit, you play a lot. It doesn't demand a lot from you. You know, and there's a satisfying thing in just picking up those fucking like cogs or whatever.
Yeah, those bits.
Yeah. You know, there's something like innately like it's satisfying about collecting them, and then building shit. Everybody loves Legos, you know. So yeah, I mean, Legos has always been one of those things that's been around for ages. You know, people like Legos for a specific reason, and the games capture that kind of silliness too, you know. And again, they also like the franchises. They're always bringing in new franchises to these things. You know, keeps things fresh. You know, and I know recently they added voice acting, changing it up too. So yeah, again, you know, new people come into it all the time, even though it is. Yes, Brian, I totally agree. It's the same game, but there's something very satisfying about it. Think about it. Madden games are all the same. Call of Duty games are all the same. People keep buying
games, same game.
Yeah, it's the same game. People buy it. People like repetition. You know, they like familiarity. That's the word I'm looking for. They like that.
I also think it's a lot of it is just the fun factor of those games. The Lego games aren't bad games. They've never been. Do you know any one of those games that's ever been considered shit?
No, it's like an AC/DC song. If you like one, you like them all.
Exactly.
You know? And there's nothing wrong with that. Any other thoughts on that?
No, man. I
Yeah.
mean,
I played Lego Jurassic World. It's fun. It's like you said, you just love collecting stuff, so you can get all the characters and the little vehicles, and then you can play as dinosaurs. You build your dinosaur, you play as it. Oh, it doesn't look like a Lego. It actually has shape and stuff, but it's still fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
there's just something that people enjoy about Lego, and the games capture that. All right. And the last question here, Brian goes, with that being said, what franchise would you like to see get the Lego treatment? I mean, they've kind of captured all the big ones.
They do a lot of them.
Lego Walking Dead.
Wow.
Walking Dead. That would be a Mega Bloks franchise.
Shit.
Can I get a Lego Star Trek game? In that case, I might get a decent Star Trek game.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one though. Star Trek. It's going to be Abrams one, Chris.
It could, yeah, I mean, hell, it's the 50th anniversary, guys. Go nuts. Hey, CBS, do something.
Oh, they're doing something. You just can't watch it.
God of War Legos.
Yeah, so instead of blood that comes out of everybody, it's like red Lego pieces.
No, it's just the pieces. Yeah, collecting dogs.
I think that would be fun. God of War Lego game. That would be fun. I was gonna say Uncharted, but we already had this whole Indiana Jones Lego, so we don't need that. What else? They already have all the big ones. They already have Batman and Superman.
They did Doctor Who, or Doctor Who isn't
They
one.
have Avengers.
They already did. They even have Back to the Future in there too. That last game had everything in it.
Yeah, Dimensions.
Yeah.
Fucking Lord of the Rings. Alien. How about that?
Lego Alien. So would it be just exactly like the Alien, the last Alien game, where you're just hiding in lockers?
Yes. Alien Isolation.
Alien
Lego.
Isolation, yeah. Lego Alien Isolation.
What else? Manny, I'm looking at you.
What else? I don't know. You could do other game franchises, other franchises. I don't know. I mean, they already hit so many of the fan favorites. I mean, they already have a Ghostbusters. At least have Ghostbusters Legos.
You're gonna have the Girl Busters Legos now, I guess, right?
I don't know. We'll see.
What about movie monster Legos like Dracula and Frankenstein? Godzilla. Like,
yeah.
In the whole city will be Legos, and you gotta just tear it up.
Your job is it'd be an interesting competitive game, right? So what you do is one guy could be the guy building the city, and then another person plays Godzilla destroying the city.
Lego Sim City. Imagine that.
Lego Sim City. I don't know. There's so many things that they could actually give a Lego treatment to. So, to be honest, they'll probably all be fun games.
Yeah, Lego Game of Thrones.
So your goal of the game is to kill off everybody and take their bricks.
Yes, that's how you get it. It's funny, Chris. Any other ones?
They could make a Lego Jessica Jones where she destroys a bar. You could collect all the little alcohol cogs.
Yes. Oh man! All right, that's all I got. And I think we're pretty much done here. Do I have any post-show shit? No. Oh yeah, go check out my new series, Tony's Take. People seem to like it.
Yo, man, your take. Well, let's talk a little bit about your take a little bit. The last one got some interesting attention, didn't it?
Oh, Firewatch.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Charles wrote his opinion, right? No, his review.
He wrote the review.
Yeah, he wrote the review and stuff. He gave it a 98, which is almost a perfect score, right? A couple of days after that, Carl Daniel, he comes on the site and he writes an editorial, 10 reasons why I hate Firewatch. He thought the game was trash, right? I beat the game last night and I'm like, okay, that's it. And I'm like, okay, this game was alright. It was at least more of a game than fucking Gone Home. There's some traversal, there's some platforming, there's even some Metroid shit going on where you got to come back later after you get equipment. I didn't feel as crazy about the ending as everybody else did. Everybody was really upset. I'm like, the ending kind of fit the game. Like, why are you guys beefing? I don't understand the problem here. Like the game was mundane, the ending was mundane. It fit perfectly, and I saw that shit coming a mile away too. I'm like, it's probably some asshole in the forest, and it was. You know,
man, spoiler alert.
Yeah, I'm not spoiling nothing.
No, dude, don't. You know, yeah, come on, people.
I didn't give away. Don't worry about it. You know. But yeah, anyway, so I did a video on it real quick because I have the power now to make videos whenever I wanted very fast. So I did that. I got a little bit of flack from Charles and Khalif and Paris Lily who we had on. You know, they all thought I was fucking crazy because my main gripe with the game was the fucking dialogue. They're 40-year-olds from 1989. And they sound like modern 20-year-olds. Or trying to be cool now. You know?
Or modern 40-year-olds. I mean, it's you know, the thing is that you got to understand, like a 40-year-old now does not sound like a 40-year-old then.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, okay, again, I thought the dialogue was really good. I thought the acting was excellent. I thought those two voice actors were really good, right? I liked the interaction with them. That was great. But come on, man, you didn't act like an 80s person. If this game was set in 2016, I may have bumped up that, you know, because my personal rating is a 6 out of 10. I may have given it a 7, maybe an 8 out of 10, you know, because that acting was excellent. But I have to deduct points because they're not acting like 80s people. And it's not like, oh, Tony, you don't know. Okay, first of all, I'm 36 years old. I lived in the fucking 80s, right? And there's something called movies and television from the 80s. Watch it. There you go. You know, even if, like, okay, granted, you know, it's acting and stuff, but even if you're trying to emulate the 80s, you should at least try to act the way he did, you know. But it seems to me now, Manny, you agree with too. It seems like everyone's trying to be outwit each other. It's like this super witty dialogue that's not natural, you know.
Yeah.
I noticed this in the Facebook movie. I'm like, why the fuck does everybody talk like that? You know, it's like Josh Whedon dialogue dialed up to 11. You know, It's like no one talks like that, especially not in the fucking 80s. You know, no one talks like that.
It felt like nostalgia. You know what I mean? It didn't feel you could. The one thing about the Firewatch is you can change the era of that game, and it still wouldn't matter. If you said that the game took place in 2016 and it had these Firewatch guys, sure, why not? Same story.
The time, see, you would still even use walkie-talkies.
You could even use walkie-talkies. You say, oh, hey, cell phones don't work in this area. Oh, there you go.
There you go, bam. You know, I think the story would have been better. You know, because I've been thinking a lot about this. You know, it's like, yeah, the game probably would have worked better if it was a modern game, given the dialogue, because the dialogue is not 80s dialogue. I know some, you know, these guys were like, Tony, that's a really stupid reason to complain. I'm like, I think that's a legit fucking reason, you know? And I know, Manny, you don't disagree with me on that, because I asked you first, I'm like, because I thought I was crazy. I'm like, is this really bugging me? And I asked Manny, he's like, yeah, that bugged me too.
It bugs me too, but I don't. The thing is, I don't hate it. I don't hate
it, but Manny, ironically enough,
it doesn't feel, you know, it doesn't feel authentic.
Yeah, ironically enough, if you gave it the same score I would.
Yeah, I would give the same score that you would have. Maybe, what was it, 6 out of 10, right?
Yeah, 6 out of 10.
Yeah, 6 out of 10. The thing is, a 6 out of 10 is not a bad score by any means. It's a pretty decent score. The thing is just I can't give. I'm not. You know, I base. You know, if I were to base scores on games and stuff like that or reviews, usually I base that on how much I think of playing the game after I played the game.
That's a good one, exactly.
You know, in other words, if I should stop playing the game and I'm thinking about the events and the story, you know, or the gameplay after I'm playing a game, that's usually a sign that a game is pretty damn good. For Firewatch, it's like, hey, this is a nice experience. All right, good, I'm done.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, okay, it was decent. It wasn't like Gone Home. I'm like, oh, you know, because it looked really nice. You know, it kept me engaged in that way. You know, and I did like going around the forest and stuff. Even though I admit I got lost a lot. I had to bring up the stupid map. That was kind of cumbersome. I wish you could kind of make your own checkpoints and stuff. By the way, I'm not going to say who it was, but one of our fellow Koalition writers, he actually hit me up privately, and he was like, Tony, I haven't played the game, but I agree with you about witty dialogue in general, in media. He's like, it's too much now, and this game would have benefited from toning that shit down, Again, I'm not against witty dialogue. It can be good, but if you're going to set in the 80s, you need to not have any of that shit at all, not the way.
Or make them British.
Yeah, or make them.
Yeah, right.
That's 100% right.
If they were British, I probably wouldn't have had that complaint.
Yeah.
Well, you think about dialogue in 80s movies like Tit for Tat, where you have someone communicating with someone else, like a radio, like Leviathan.
Yes.
Leviathan's an 80s movie where Peter Weller was taking orders from the leader of the company was this woman, right? And she was just communicating over radio. And there was really no witty banter. It was more like a power struggle between the two of them, and then what he was trying to do to escape the station, right? And then the most satisfying ending ever, where he just decked her. I was like, wow, he punched the woman.
He punched evil in.
Yeah, he punched evil in the face. Like,
oh man. So
but
yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
Like, I know exactly what you're saying.
Chris, I know, like, again, I'm not going to recommend this game to you because I don't, Chris, trust me, I know how you are. You wouldn't be very happy with it. But if you play it, you'll be like, guys, you're 100% right about this weirdo dialogue, man. What is up with all this witty shit?
I'm gonna say, I mean, dude, I told you as soon as I was playing it, I'm like, you're not gonna like this game that much.
Yeah.
Just
but hey,
for the plain.
I am trying to test out these walking simulator games, so I can at least give an informed opinion that I can go, I don't like this genre. So far, it's looking like that. Oh, this game was better than the last game I played. That last game, the more I think about it, the more pissed off it gets me. This one, not that much. No bad taste in my mouth or anything like that.
So
I like the pace.
So so Tony told me not long ago about which ones he's got. Okay, so now you have, let's get these right. You have Stanley Parable.
Yeah.
Then you also have Dear Esther.
Yes.
Now, Dear Esther, if you had a problem with Gone Home you actually can do. There's quite a bit of things that you can do. Picking up items and stuff like that. Dear Esther, you're literally just walking and narration's happening.
Yeah, but that's another highly praised game,
Yes, so, that one is probably, if out of all of them, is probably the worst offenders with a lot of gamers.
Oh man, gamers, not reviewers, gamers.
Yeah. Reviewers loved that game, but yeah, because they thought it was interesting and provocative, something different, which is exactly what it is. It's good at doing that, but I think a lot of people that have expectations as far as games and gameplay, a lot of them will not like it, don't like it. I mean, if you've looked at the Steam reviews on that game, it's appalling. They're just like, you see that you're just like, this game is shit. What is this? This is not even a game. Blah blah blah. Then you have Stanley Parable, which it is still the walking simulator thing. I think you can jump in that game, and but in that one, it's an experiment on linearity. There's narration in the game. If you don't follow the narration, something totally crazy can happen.
Yeah.
I forgot how many endings there are, and the game can be beaten in maybe 10 minutes or something like that. I don't know. I can't remember how long it is.
Yeah, let's look up. I was looking up Dear Esther. I guess I'm trying to find out where the reviews are. But anyway, so yeah, and then the big one I did, Tony's take, was the Quantum Break shit. I hit that right as it happened.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hits off of that. So, and by the way, I should say this: the Firewatch thing was a little bit of an experiment because I just had it in mind that I'm just gonna, whatever news happens, I'm gonna talk about it. But this was not news, So I was like, hey, let me just throw that out there and see what how people think about it,
But it's in the name. It's Tony's take.
Yeah.
So it's like, as to what do you think about this sort of thing? I mean, not only you kind of get a longer answer rather than asking him on Twitter, like, hey, what did you think of this?
Like, I'm gonna tell you what I think about it.
And everybody, if for some reason, having a different opinion than everybody apparently encouraged you being called crazy, and also being called names. To be honest, guys, people can have a different opinion. It may not be your opinion, but somebody can have an opinion about something. I'll tell you, any one of those AAA games that are getting millions of great reviews, there's probably some person out there that says this game is a piece of shit and I don't want it.
Hey, you know, I'm going to use Brian as a perfect example, right? Everybody loves The Last of Us, right?
Yeah.
He thinks it's crap.
See? You know? There you go.
I think he's wrong as fuck. But is he crazy? And, you know, I may have called him crazy for fun. Is he crazy? No. He just has a different opinion.
Yes.
You know?
You can have a total different opinion. I mean, to be honest, I'm like, okay, sure, he doesn't like the game. That's cool. That's cool. He could not like a game, you know.
Yeah, you're allowed that, you know. But it seems, you know, again, it was a little noise. Like, guys, I don't think you're crazy for your opinion. Why am I crazy for mine? Like, I'm giving you valid reasons why I don't think this game is as good as you make it out to me. But apparently, my reasons were crazy talk.
Apparently, what, liking the Order is a bad thing too?
Yeah. You don't like the Order, but you didn't like Firewatch. Like, yeah, because the Order was a world that was actually created by people, you know, instead of just like, okay, you're in a forest, you know. And I know that shouldn't be a knock, but to me personally, I like a created world that I know for a fact these guys put time and effort into to create everything from scratch than just the regular world. You know, why do we play games, right? To escape the real world, you know? And this thing, and like I told Manny, I told you this all the time, with video games, it's very simple with me, dude. If I will not watch it as a movie, I'm not going to like it as a game.
Exactly.
It's as simple as that.
You know, Tony is not going to play the crying game, the game.
The game.
You know?
It's as simple. Like, if you made Firewatch into a movie, I'm like, nope, that doesn't sound like a movie I would want. You know? Like, nope, I'm good. You know, this is why I narrowed it down to movies. I'm like, I only really watch superhero and action movies now, man. Like, I'm not going to watch some Joy Luck Club shit.
No, you're not gonna, those aren't films you're going to watch. Most of those Academy Award nominated films you're not going to watch.
Think about if you made a movie about Gone Home. Oh, it's a movie about this girl that comes to a home, to an abandoned home, and she finds out her sister's gay. That's a stupid movie. I'm not watching that. So why would I play that as in a game? You know? So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the best way to kind of get what Tony would really dig is usually to kind of look at the kind of films that he would enjoy watching. You know?
Yeah, and I think you guys have a pretty good idea of what the fuck.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say, dude. That's exactly why I said you're probably not gonna like you're not gonna like this game.
Wait, does that mean I have to say it?
You were right.
Does that mean I have to shave my eyebrows?
You were right.
You have to shave my eyebrows and look like a friggin' Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah.
Just like come over to your house.
Yeah.
You were right.
Actually, I have to do that to you, man.
Oh, wait.
I have to shave like completely and go, Manny, you were right.
And I'll be like, wow, dude, you've lost it now.
Yeah. Tell your sister you're right. You don't even know my sister, nigga.
What you talking about?
Oh man, so yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't have any specific schedule for that shit. Whenever something happens, I'll cover it. You know, simple as that. And by the way, I do want to make it, I need to, point this out. I find it ironic, and this also goes for me in Let's Plays. I don't like Let's Plays, and I also don't like videos narrated over random game shit, but you guys like it, so I'll give it to you. At least the Gone Home, at least the Firewatch one, me talking about Firewatch, you had Firewatch,
Yeah.
Because, you guys know what I'm talking about. These videos out there where basically someone's talking about, let's say, hey, let's talk about MPDs, and they're showing Uncharted. Are you talking about Uncharted? No. But people like that, and I understand why they do that because it's easy. I have so much B footage. It's just simple to get the video out there, So
yeah, the first time I saw one of those is with Total Biscuit. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? It's like a single man podcast and some gameplay. This is weird.
Yeah, that's a lot now. I see that all over.
Yeah, you see that, and because again, Manny, when I told you that, I was like, I'm gonna try this as an experiment, and people liked it.
Yeah, so, to me, if I were going to do one of those things, I'd go all out. I'd be like, so, we're talking about this, and get some graphics and some bullshit.
No, you could talk about whatever and just have Metal Gear going in the background.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It would totally destroy my mind. I couldn't handle it.
I watched a YouTuber named That Saints Fan, and 95% of it is Grand Theft Auto 5. That's what's in the background. He'll talk about whatever. Because he's talking about GTA, right? But he'll talk about other stuff. But you see his gameplay, his death matches and whatever. That's what's in the background. I watched another guy, Mikey Gaming, and it's mostly Counter-Strike that he's playing.
Yeah.
He talks about whatever. You know.
Yeah,
And
I mean it's weird, but I'm already used to it. And Chris, I'm guessing you're already used to it too. You know.
Yeah.
It's
I watch
something
these guys.
you know, it's something to watch while you listen. You know.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, oh, what is this? But yet, no, I'm okay with like, okay, there's a guy, I forgot one YouTubers, and he just does all the Bloodborne and Soul stuff, right? And what he does though, he has his thing called I don't know, Wreckfist or something, right? And he's essentially playing Wreckfist.
That's awesome. Yeah, Wreckfist.
So it's essentially something he does earlier in the morning, you know, like and he'll essentially be talking about the actual game, but also in between that there'll be stuff that he'd be, you know, like he'll be talking tactics and how what certain lore is and something, or trying to beat the game without doing certain things. But it's still within the world of Bloodborne. It's not like all of a sudden he's playing Bloodborne and he's talking about Super Mario Brothers, you know.
Yeah. By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Mark, you know, Apex, which he has these columns of now. This is what he says. He goes, the gameplay keeps the viewer's attention. And that's exactly what it is, because if you just have a static image and stuff, it's like, it's boring. Throw some. So I get it. It's the equivalent of when you're listening to music, you just start doing something with your hands just to keep yourself busy. It's like you're listening to Iron Maiden, but you're playing a racing game. What does the racing game have to do with Iron Maiden, you know?
But the thing is that if I'm gonna, why would I watch the video if it's just this video that's just not even related? To be honest, I just minimize the video and just listen to whatever they're talking to.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. The real draw is not the video. The draw is what's being said. You know. But since you need to give video out there, may as well have some footage and stuff. And people seem to like it. You know.
I think in general it's because YouTube has such a, you know, that so many people go cycle through YouTube. Even like let's say you did Tony's take on the Throwdown channel. The thing is, I don't, you know, I definitely wouldn't get that as much watches because, you know, the way podcasts work and stuff. Most people head to YouTube automatically. You know, that's like their first thing they do during the day. So yeah. I could definitely understand why it's being put through YouTube, and I understand what it's for, but I really think it's just kind of weird and fucks with my brain.
Yeah, but like you said, you know, that's just you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing is, it doesn't mess with me as much as you, but because I still find it weird, but I get it. It's at least something to, you know, on the stream, you know. So yeah, expect those from now on. Again, I was doing an experiment, and the experiment seems to be pretty good, you know. So game industry, give me some juicy shit, please, because man, I tell you, because I'm doing this on the Koalition channel, right? Which all you guys should subscribe to, Koalition TV on YouTube. We had 800 subscribers at the beginning of the week. Now it's up to 830. So hey, you know, maybe I'm helping a little. Who knows? You know. All right. So that's pretty much it. I don't know what's gonna happen on Throwdown this week. Something. It'll be good. You know.
Something will show up, and you know, all we need to do is just get something for Brett or Chris to go crazy on, and I think we'll be good.
Street Fighter's coming out, so you know, Chris and I are going to go off on that. And I'm also going to be playing a certain game that takes place in the prehistoric time that I can't talk about yet.
Yeah, like, oh, so what are you going to be playing, like Flintstones?
Yeah, I'm going to be playing the Flintstones game, people. You know, man and dinosaurs living together, crazy. All right, let's wrap this up. Thank you for watching and listening. Leave us your questions in the comment section on the Koalition or on YouTube so we can answer them on next week's show. Make sure to follow the Koalition at thekoalition.com. Also help support the site by donating to our Patreon page. Subscribe to Throwdown, SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. And don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes. And also don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are available in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and today and tonight and anytime you're watching this, I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
Yeah, Walking Simulator, yeah, we're good at the game.
And Chris Seeley.
I never liked Myst, and I still don't like Myst.
Yes! All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Later.
Peace.
Laters.